morning. It is quite a rainy day in Bulawayo, and they say that rains means blessings. So we are blessed to be here, and we hope that Lonke Lifuge sharp. And welcome to the by-elections updates right here on Nasaki. We'll be giving you elections updates from across the country today. Hoping that you had a fantastic night. So how are you, Brighton?
I'm great. Looking forward to the by-election updates. Looking forward to the updates from our journalists from on the ground to hear what's happening on different polling stations across the country, and to hear the turnout. So 7 a.m. the processes are opened already. It's now 7:32. So I want to hear from the journalists on the ground. So we'll be giving live updates from the ground as the day progresses. So now let's jump to our COVID-19 stats for the day.
Oh, yes. Just a gentle reminder, Wuti, there are 178 new cases according to the Ministry of Health and Childcare. And of course, 2 deaths were reported yesterday. And looking at the uptake of the first dose, sitting on 109,862,000, while the second dose sitting on 11,597. The third dose sitting on 17,754. And of course, the ministry was proud to say that it seems that there is a general increase in the uptake of the first dose. So kudos to you all Zimbabweans. Hopefully our country does open up after this. So please remember, whether you are socializing today or going to cast your vote, make sure you mask up, you sanitize, and you maintain social distancing. And yeah, those are your COVID stats for this morning.
So yeah, guys, as you cast your vote today, please do request the mic and give us updates. Also, do come to our DMs if you have any updates that you want to share with us, whether what's happening in your area. I know Bula is very, very rainy this morning. It's very wet. And I'm sure now, even maybe the issue of queues now, people queuing already. Don't forget your ID or your valid passport when you're going to cast your vote.
Indeed. And of course, we do have our journalists on the ground who will be giving us live coverage of what's happening. We will be joined by the site editor, that is Uleslie, to let us know where he is and what is happening on the ground. So please also, if you'd like to contribute and share your thoughts on today's by-elections, whether you are a resident in Zimbabwe or out of the country, I'm sure we are all going to be impacted by these by-elections. So please do feel free to share your contributions in regards to the by-elections that are taking place today.
And also on the show today, we're going to be unpicking, looking at the number of female candidates which are participating in the by-elections, looking at the number of people maybe from each party which are deployed to as candidates in this election, number of males, number of females. So yeah, we're going to be looking at that after we get our editor from side to give us an update what's happening wherever it is. Leslie, good morning to you, sir. Leslie, good morning.
Good morning, Brighton. Good morning, Fungai.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine.
So Leslie, where are you? What's happening where you are?
All right. It's a rainy day here in Bulawayo today, and we are out here in Phumula South at Phumula South Secondary School, where there is a polling station. And so far, I think we have, as of 7:25, 7 people had voted, which were 4 males and 3 females, and then 2 were turned away. One was not registered, and the other one brought a driver's license. So I think it shows that more needs to be done to educate people on some of these things, because obviously a driver's license is not one of the requirements. One is supposed to bring their national ID or a valid passport to cast their vote. But so far, in terms of turnout, still low. I think there's only one person right now who's going through the process, and so I'm not sure that if the weather permits, then we might see a lot of people trickling in. But we are here also. We're also waiting for the ZAPU candidate who is supposed to cast his vote here any minute from now, so that then we hear from him. Remember, ZAPU fielded only 2 National Assembly candidates, one here in Phumula and the other one in Cholocho South. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare in these by-elections. So we'll be speaking to him and finding out from him. We're also trying to track the other candidates as they to find out where they are casting their ballots. But I think for Bulawayo, some of the wards to watch out for obviously will be Ward 8. Then there's also Ward 26. Could remember Ward 26. There's the issue of the double candidacy in the CCC, so that one was not resolved. So we have to see how that turns out. So I think also the 2 National Assembly seats are also of interest to us. We'll see how those ones go, as well as the Cholocho South seat. So I think as the day progresses, we'll be giving you more updates.
All right, that's great, Leslie. And you just highlighted a key issue there about voter education, in that other people might turn up with Lamar driver's license unaware that you're supposed to bring your valid ID or your valid passport as well to come and vote there. So do you feel like in terms of voter education, this is something that can be looked into in improving rather, Zek, rather as we head towards the elections in 2023? I know that Namhla we are focused on the by-elections, but do you feel like perhaps that is something that can be looked into as well as the days go by?
Yeah, I think I've heard a lot of people, dismissing the importance of these by-elections, saying that they're a waste of time. But for me, I think they are not, for a number of reasons. Remember, one, for ZEC, it will also be a litmus test for them, because a lot of things have been said about ZEC in terms of their management of the electoral process. So I think that will give people an idea of how ZEC is able to conduct these elections. They're not small, but I think they give them that opportunity to test their systems, whether they're working ahead of the 2023 elections. And also, I remember there's the Citizens Coalition for Change Party, which was formed recently, and for them also to gauge their performance before a major election, like the 2020 election. So I think these are quite important elections in my own view, and I think people should take them seriously. And also remember, these parties they spend a lot of resources campaigning, voter education and all those things, and so they would want their candidates to perform well. So I think already it shows that more needs to be done. I think even civil society has to do more in terms of voter education, because if people are still making such mistakes of bringing a driver's license instead of your ID, I think it also shows that more needs to be done to educate people, so that because that one vote is quite important, and if someone is turned back, you never know, maybe they might not want to come back again in the next election. So that needs to be corrected, and I think ZEC and other civil society organizations must do more in terms of educating people on the voting process.
Thanks so much, Leslie, for that. Now let's look at the Bulawayo weather now. Today's raining in Bulawayo. It's quite cold. It's quite nippy in Bulawayo. So, do you think the issue of weather can also influence, or the issue of apathy? Are people going to the polling stations now where we are at 7 a.m. Now it's 7:39. The issue of weather that it's raining in Bulawayo, Crescent Talk. So, are there people going there, or people are queuing outside? The issue of weather now.
Yeah, I think where I am, there's a queue that is forming. Luckily, there's some shade, so people are found some shelter there, and I think it might play a huge part, but we wait to see whether it's going to improve. But from the few polling stations where we have had some updates, we have heard from Masvingo. They were saying that the turnout in the morning so far in the last 30 minutes has been fair. And here in Pumula, I think it's also fair. I think people are coming out to vote, and also we got an update from Mkanwini. Senzanga Corner school, where as early as 6 o'clock, some people had already gone there to cast their vote. They were already in the queue, and by 7:05, they had already started voting. So I think it shows that people are eager to cast their votes. But hopefully, as the day progresses, the weather will also improve and allow people to come and exercise their democratic right.
Absolutely. We look forward to the elections and the process with the elections and the like. So remember, if you are heading out to vote, make sure you carry your ID as well as your valid passport to go and vote. Your driver's license cannot be used if you are going to vote. Thank you so much for that update, Leslie. We will continue talking to you as the show progresses. And as you know, this is This Morning on Asake, where we are covering by-elections updates right here live on Asake.
So yeah, Fungai, we have an update from Masvingo now. Someone is on the ground from Masvingo to give us an update. So it's a voice note. Someone sent us a voice note. We're going to play that voice note shortly. So yeah.
So what 4 Nyararo Primary. It turned out also if in the morning, meaning Tabandu have election ukuthi bezovota asiyezwa ukuthi there is someone who has been turned away. Abantu bayachecka amabizo abo. So yeah, that's what I have for now. Ngizakutshela nxa sengisiya ku-Ward 7 eRujeko and other wards.
Yeah, there we have it from Masvingo. They're giving us an update from Masvingo. Saying people are turning out in large numbers to register, to cast their vote today for the by-elections. So, Fungai, so far seems everyone's going to cast their vote.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, like our reporters, like you said, in Masvingo have informed us that people are turning up to vote. That is in Ward 3 and Ward 4. That is by Runyararo Primary. So far, no one has been turned away in Masvingo. So I guess that is indeed progress. But of course, like we said, mentioned earlier, that we'll be giving you updates from Bulawayo, Matabele, North and South Midlands Province, as well as Masvingo, on basically how the by-elections are going about. And, you know, it is like... our editor mentioned, Leslie, that this is more of a litmus test, really. I think for the political parties, for ZEC, and for Zimbabweans as well. I feel like this is kind of like a test run to see how we're going to see the elections turn out rather in 2023. So it is important that we keep, an eye on these by-elections.
So yeah, over the past night, so I've been seeing posts on Twitter, people saying some agents have been turned away, some polling stations, whatnot. Some people are far from the people, some are in the bush. So those issues now, I think ZEC is going to it's being tested now. What next year going to the by-election for the real elections now? How credible is ZEC to hold a free and fair election? So yeah, that's a critical issue now that we can look at. And also today on the show, we're going to be unpacking a number of female candidates that are participating in the by-election. So we're going to have the stats looking at that number of candidates who are females who are taking part in this by-election and looking at the role played by women in the by-elections.
Yeah, indeed. We are going to be focusing on all those key issues. And then just out of interest for those of you who are unaware, so out of the 28 parliamentary seats up for grabs today, 20 were won by MDC-A. That was way back in 2018. And of course, 18 fell vacant by recalls and 2 by deaths. And then of course, 7 were won by ZANU-PF, but 5 fell vacant due to deaths. And then, of course, 1 recall and 1 resignation. And NPF also had a situation where 1 member of theirs passed away. So these are some of the parliamentary seats which are up for grabs. So it will be very interesting to see how the voting goes about. And of course, like I mentioned, we'll be giving you live updates from across the country, from our voters as well as from our journalists across the country.
So yeah, the issue of women that I touched on. So 28 constituents in Zimbabwe now are going for the by-elections for the National Assembly. So CCC, which is the new party which is being formed just 2 months ago, they have 28 candidates. They have 25 males and 3 females. Also take on the issue of gender, 25 males and 3 females.
You know what? I feel it's unfortunate that we're still seeing such low numbers of low numbers of female representatives when it comes to politics, because if you look like at other first world countries where females are given rather offices in politics and who run political system in politics.
So yeah, the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance filtered 25 candidates, 23 males and 2 females. And then we have the lead, led by Linda Masarira, filtered 3 candidates, 1 male and 2 females.
Yeah, I felt the other day when we had the lead president here, Linda Masarira, she highlighted that that is important in their agenda of having women participate fully in politics and have a chance and an opportunity to serve their people. So I feel kudos to her for doing that. And we'll see how the people vote, because at the end of the day, it is what the citizens and how the residents in her area feel about those particular politicians. Can they bring results at the end of the day, not based on gender? Like I feel like a lot of people have been talking about that voting should not be based on gender, but can you produce results?
But also now, I think the one which is interesting now is ZANU-PF. They filtered 28 candidates as well for the National Assembly. 23 are males, only 5 are females. This is the ruling party we're talking about. This is the governing party we're talking about. The issue of gender equality. The ruling party only filtered 5 candidates which are females and 23 are males. So I see ZAPU there as well. ZAPU has only 2 candidates for National Assembly, only 2 males. There is no female. And then you have 7 candidates which are independent. 6 are males and only 1 is female. So now the space for women in terms of political space for women. Are women taking up space? Who is imposing this guy? Who is putting candidates? Are they coming out to say, I want to run as well? Or someone saying, no, it's not at the time?
I think it's a mixed bag of issues, at the end of the day, because we really don't know what goes on in terms of politics within the political parties themselves. But I do feel as we are in 2022, there's no way that you can only have three females and say that we are doing our best. And even that whole, like you talk about the female quota and stuff like that, that implementation. No, I feel that is really, it takes us back as well, even though most people do see it as a positive impact. But I just really feel Wuti, it should solely be based on merit at the end of the day. That is my highlight, should be based on merit. And if these political parties, like you mentioned, the CCC party was just formed 2 months ago, perhaps they didn't have women to come and participate in these particular elections. So I guess it's it's really sad numbers, but then based on time, I guess time is a factor as well. That's why maybe they only feel the three candidates.
So yeah,
But we won't know. So maybe if we invite the spokesperson of CCC to come through and share that, then we'd know better.
So, yeah, guys, this is the morning show on Asake. My name is Brighton Nube. So, we're talking about the by-elections updates on Asake everywhere in Zimbabwe now today. People, some areas having by-elections, maybe due to recalls, some due to death, some due to resignation. So, yeah, people are casting their votes early in the morning. We have heard from our editor from site, Leslie Moore, telling us what's happening wherever he was in Pumula, right? And also got an update from Maswingo telling us that people are turning out in large numbers to cast their vote in the by-election. So later on, we'll be joined by other spokesperson from the political parties. ZAPU is going to be joining us, as well as MDC Alliance, as well as CCC, to give us an update what is going on. Because over the night, I saw people doing tender ways, because agents, some are not allowed to go there. Some politicians are too far from the people. Again, there was a cry over the ballot paper. Some are saying it's too faint, they can't see their candidate or see their symbols. So, yeah, I'm going to touch on those issues throughout the day.
Yeah, and interesting enough, you should mention that. And of course, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission declared that they are almost 100% ready for the elections. That was last night when they were being asked by various journalists as to whether they are ready for the elections and at different polling stations. So, as you know, the country is holding mini polls to fill up vacant local government and National Assembly seats caused by recalls and deaths of some representatives. So, according to ZEC, they said that no, they are ready. Everything is set in motion. But of course, we did have some outcries. I know that CCC held a press conference, a presser yesterday, talking about how they felt that ZEC had shortchanged the electorate essentially. So we will be talking to the spokesperson from that particular party to let us know how they feel about the ongoing elections. And of course, feel free as well, if you're just from voting, if you're on your way to vote, what are some of your fears? What are some of your takes from what ZEC is saying? Because according to them, they were almost 100% ready yesterday. So we'll see how it goes today.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes today. People are casting their vote. But the issue of weather in Bulawayo is worrying me now. It's raining profusely. It's too much rain in Bulawayo. So, yeah, are people going to go and cast their vote? Look at this weather.
You know what? I feel like it would be okay. I can't say allows the excuse not to go and vote because of the rain. The rain will eventually stop, and the good thing is that the polls are open until 7 p.m. And these are by-elections, right? So obviously, there are not as many, how can I say, stations which are out there to be counted. So in terms of numbers, it's not really that worrying. But I feel like, there are things that you can do to make sure that you avoid the rain, like umbrellas. So
But remember, this area, some people are voting in schools.
Yes.
Some are voting in tents. There are no shades for people to queue outside and while they're waiting to cast their vote. So I guess someone can say, I'll go later, then the rain continues raining. So people end up not going to cast their vote. I think it's going to be a factor when it comes to maybe apathy or people turning out to cast their vote.
Yeah, it could definitely be a factor in terms of voters coming through to cast their votes. But then we are hopeful indeed that people will turn out and will take the right step in casting their votes today. Today really is an important day in terms of elections and democracy in Zimbabwe as we move forward as a country. So please encourage those who are with Endlini to go through and cast their votes.
And remember to carry your ID and your valid passport when you're going to cast your vote. Remember earlier on we spoke to our editor. He said someone went to cast their vote carrying a license, driver's license. You can't cast your vote carrying a driver's license. You need a valid passport or an ID. So yeah, I see we have a new speaker there who's going to give us updates. They're trying to connect. Yeah, the rain in Bulawayo, it's raining. So I hope people can go and cast their vote in spite of the rains that are in Bulawayo. So during the day, we're going to be getting our reporters on the ground, giving us information on what's happening throughout the polling stations. Okay?
Yes, we are indeed looking forward to some of those updates from our various reporters across the country will be giving us updates. We just heard an update from Mashingo, as well as the polling station in Pumula that is with our editor Leslie, just informing us of what is happening. And he highlighted, of course, that some voters were turned away because they turned up with their driver's license. So please remember that it's a prerequisite that you come through with your ID or your valid passport to cast your votes in your different areas.
Right, I see you're the speaker there. Trevor, please go ahead and say the contribution. Trevor, please unmute your mic and go ahead with the contribution, sir. Yes, go ahead, Trevor, with the contribution. We seem to be losing Trevor there. James, I see you have the mic again. Please go ahead and say with your contribution. James, are you there? So, Funga, I think our listeners are having a problem.
Yes, I'm there, Brighton. Yes, I'm there.
Yes, tell us, James, what's happening in Kwanda, sir?
Yeah, currently I'm yet to cast my vote. It's still actually raining outside. So maybe I'll be going late between around 10, 11. Around that time, I think I'll give you a proper update. But currently, I've got few friends that have gone. They're saying the process is quite well. So I'll go and see it by myself at around that time. But it's really though. So
sir, the issue of rain, do you think the issue of rain will affect or
yeah, actually it will then it will affect, you've got especially this one that we are at, we've got a lot of people that are old. Can you imagine older people going to cast their vote during this period? They might as well wait until the rain stops, or maybe the temperatures go down. They might as well wait until maybe, I don't know, but it will badly affect the turnout. So we're just hopefully
in terms of polling stations. Yeah, in terms of polling stations in Gwanda, do they have shares for people who can queue there under the shares? Is this raining the polling stations in Gwanda?
Where I am, there's we've got the other one that is just by the park. Yeah, a bit of some shades you can stand under trees, and then you've got the other one by the by the church. You can as well maybe stand there. There's a bit of some shade around, so it's not much of a problem. Remember, when Ward 7 is just a small place, so I think the turnout might not the rains might not as well affect people in terms of actually going to wait too much. Maybe people might as well go there. Maybe my numbers are 10, 15, 10, 15, 10, 15. It's not a big ward. But remember, this is the ward. This is the ward that has Uloku Zenin. So it is actually heavily contested. You want Uloku Zenin, Elo Mayor. So very there is we're hands on it.
Okay, James, so later on, I'm going to give us more updates on what's happening in Rwanda as you cast your vote. Tell us maybe the issue of the queues, how smooth was the process, and later on as you cast your vote.
Definitely, Prefect, I'll give you the details, definitely.
Thanks so much, sir.
All right, so I just happened because I thought Bulawayo is the only city with rain today, but it looks like it is a countrywide state of the weather. Namhlanje it will be raining throughout Bulawayo, Gweru, Mutare, Harare as well. Victoria Falls, it seems to be the only city that will have a bit of sunshine today. So it seems like the weather really will be working, not really in the favor of the voters countrywide, but at least it is cooler conditions. I think that's the only upside with the rains and the likes. But we do look forward to hearing from all of you who are on the ground, who are on your way to vote, and how you're feeling about casting your vote today in terms of the by-election. So please do feel free to let us know what is happening in your area.
So also from the issue of the COVID-19, remember when you go to this big government institutions or places where they write your name down at the gate, sometimes you take your temperature. Do you think, because I saw someone posting on the timeline, I think our Twitter account was saying, if you write your name down, they're going to intimidate voters later on and ask them why to do what, whom to do what for, and so on. But also the issue of COVID-19, write your name down and take your temperature. That's going to affect now the issue of voter intimidation to do what? Are they going to follow? Because someone is saying they're going to follow those people, right?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that our country is known with a history of voter intimidation before, after elections and the likes, and now with the COVID-19, regulations and the likes, that you have to write your name down as well as have your temperature checked and the like. So I think maybe this could work, not really in the favor of citizens. And of course, it causes intimidation at the end of the day if you know that you voted for a particular party, and obviously there is that state of fear as well as to what will happen to you. So it really is unfortunate.
But also,
really.
we need to James supposed to update us on when he's going to vote. Cast his vote. They just take his temperature, to sanitize his hands, to write his name down, his phone number, and so on. So James, please do update us when you go and cast your vote about those COVID-19 details and regulations. Are they being followed when you cast your vote?
Yes, and I see that Antonella has joined us as a speaker. Would you like to share contributions this morning of what is happening or how you feel about these particular by-elections? Please do feel free to unmute your mic and share your contribution, Antonella.
Hello, thank you so much for this opportunity. Good morning, everyone. So, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, I've just voted. I'm in Kulumani constituency. So, I got there, like I was one of the early birds. I got there at around 2 minutes to 7. I waited at the queue because it was a bit raining. So, I just wanted to be over and done with it before the day goes by. So I got there at 2 minutes to 7. They delayed to open the polls because they actually opened it around 7:07. I think I was number 3 on the queue, and there were quite many people behind me. So we got there. Well, the COVID-19, they're actually following the precautions. We're actually social distancing, and we got there. There was this man by the entrance. So he was actually noting down your name and everything. The process was a bit slow. It was a bit annoying, but well, I had to do what I had to do. I got there, and you know how the process is. It was a bit dark in there, and they're actually using those old lamp lights, so it wasn't quite clear. So the process was a bit slow. I then casted my vote at around 20 to 25 past 7. And well, yeah, it was a bit raining. Some of the people actually left the polling station because there was no shade. It's actually like under a tree with those tents and all. But yeah, I'm sure people will come later on the day if the rain stops, because it's still raining now. Somewhere or like what's the purpose? Because it's raining. But I'm sure people will come back.
Thank you so much for that update, Antonella. Just a quick question. Is this your first time voting or your second time? And how was the experience for you generally as a voter at the polling station where you were?
Well, it's actually my second time because I voted 2018. Generally, it wasn't that bad. I wouldn't say it's really bad. It was generally okay, generally fair. And yeah, the experience was, you know how it is. I was so excited. That's why I got there early. You know the feeling of voting, because yeah, it was generally okay. I don't have any much problems, but the process is a bit slow. I think that whole process of noting down the names, they should maybe assign someone who is a bit fast on the noting down, because it was an old man, so he was actually not seeing some of the words on the ID. You know how it is, remove your mask and all those processes. And they actually, because my ID, comparing me to my ID, it was like, how old were you? Is this you? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. Because I took that ID, I think like 10 years back or so. So yeah.
Now, Funga, I spoke about earlier the issue of COVID-19 restrictions. Wherever you go in a building, they take down your temperature, take down your name and your ID. So now someone is saying that this taking down of details of people, writing them down, their phone numbers, and address, is going to be one of the factors now in terms of voter intimidation. So now Anto says she was at the polling station, they took down your details, your name, temperature, and so on. Anto, do you think those things are going to be used as a voter for voter intimidation?
Well, I think they are, because I was like kind of surprised. I'm thinking that they should have just like taken the checking down on the voters, because taking down those things, I think it's a bit intimidating. I'm now wondering, what are they going to do with those details? Are they going to track me down? Those kind of things. People are so skeptical about these things. So I don't know, but I find them a bit intimidating. Some people won't be really much comfortable with their details taken down and so forth.
Okay, Antela, thank you so much for that update, and thank you so much for casting your vote. And you sound youthful and young, so it's nice to know what abantwana, the future of Zimbabwe is actually casting votes and actually taking the future into their own hands. So thank you so much for that. And then we do have another speaker, Umvelo. Please unmute your mic and share your contribution in regards to the by-elections updates that we are giving you live on Asake this morning. Good morning, Umvelo. How are you? Please unmute your mic and share your contribution.
Morning, host. How is everyone?
We are fantastic. Hello. And how are you?
I'm good. Just the weather is doing everyone down. Yeah, just a quick update on what is happening here in Kwanda. I guess James had shared what he saw from the other polling station. Right now, I'm at Zayoja Church. I heard you asking about whether there are facilities for people to get shelter in case the rains become more heavy. At the church is open. I think there is a provision for people to be sheltered when the rains are intensified, but now it's just a drizzly and people are trekking in very low turnout. I think the weather played a role in the low uptake, but at Kwanda High, which is a collection center, everything when I went there before opening, it was all set. I myself was taking temperature, then he recorded, then he talked to the presiding officer. I said everything is above board. For now, I think this is what I can report. Jaunda Papa coming in twos and ones, but the turnout is very low.
Thanks so much for that. Velo says there's no turnout in Kwanda. Maybe because of the rains, but however, there's a place where they can shelter. Maybe voters want to cast their votes if the rain intensifies or rain continues during the day. James also said that the rains are heavy in Kwanda. So again, the issue part now, the rains, people say, oh, it's raining. It'll come later. If the rain continues later, then again later, then 10 p.m. we're up, and then what things are closed. So I guess the issue of rain, yeah, and also people need to carry the correct documents. Some are carrying driver's license, not allowed. People only allowed to have the IDs or passports. So yeah, that's Velo from Kwanda, as well as Anto still man, right?
Yes, he did say that he's from there. Thanks so much for that update, Velo. And I think Anto actually highlighted a very key piece of information about the speed at which they had to, note down their names for Yes, for COVID regulations like that. It really was a tedious task. So I think maybe these are lessons that can be learned towards 2023, particularly since we're living in an era of COVID-19, because we don't know how COVID-19 is going to affect Zimbabwe in future. So maybe these are lessons that we can learn not only as political parties, but as ZEC as well, in terms of dealing with COVID-19.
Also in our COVID-19, I really sensitize people as they cast their votes. But some people tend away, not have mask or lowering mask when casting votes. So those things are adhered to COVID-19. People are being sanitized. That's sanitizers. They are polling stations. Because some of them they've tents not open. Tents not open. Some of them bushes. Some of them schools. So are they people sanitized? They got government regulations. They cast their vote. So I see now another speaker to tell us more about what's happening in their place. Bafana Longosi, please unmute your mic and contribute to the discussion.
Okay. Thank you and good morning. I'm yet actually to go to cast my vote, but I haven't actually had any update from Engeta. That's where actually I'm supposed to go and cast my vote. But my major worry is what the other speaker talked about. This thing fine, we might be taking temperatures and so forth and so on, but why write the names down? I think for now, for the by-elections, this thing can actually not be a danger, but as we go towards 2023, there are people who can actually use that as an intimidating kind of tool. So I don't know what can be done, but then it's a cause for concern. Maybe I can actually ask.
We seem to be having connectivity issues there.
In respect, sorry. So you didn't hear what I said.
Yes, please do come again. What did you say?
Supposed to cast my vote Nketa. I suppose it's what 26, where Nketa is situated. So my concern was this thing of actually writing down names. I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Yes, go ahead.
So I was saying, for now, it cannot be. It can't actually. It might actually not be a very big threat. Writing these names down, but I was saying, as we go towards 2023 elections, some people might actually want to take advantage of this and use it as a tool for intimidating other people. Because I think the elections will be tightly contested, and so it's one of the security concerns as we go forward. But also, I was asking in respect to say, can we have update of what is also happening maybe in Nketa that side, so that when we go, we know what to find there. Thank you.
No problem. We will be giving live updates from across the country. Thank you so much for highlighting the point. He says that in terms of people noting down their names rather when they get there in terms of COVID-19 regulations, that is not really an issue. But maybe towards the 2023 elections, maybe that will be an issue. So your sentiments on that?
Yeah, now it's a very big issue now. Also, want to hear from Nketa what's happening. So what's happening now is going to be the precursor kind of what's going to happen in the elections. So until now, on the timeline, people are posting their fingers, which are now people, some cast their vote, and some are going about the executive doing. Some people are going to voting. Some candidates are going to vote. There are no reasons candidates with voters. So I think the things that are happening throughout Zimbabwe as we cast our vote by elections.
Yeah, very interesting things happening around Zimbabwe. And of course, we have our other journalist online, Senzeni, to give us an update from the polling station where she is. Senzeni, good morning. Please unmute your mic and share what is happening in the area where you are.
Good morning, Fungai and Brighton. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So far, I'm in Ward 20 in Nkulumani. So far, I've managed to visit two polling stations. The first one was the one called Emasimini polling station. It managed to open on time around 7 a.m. So far, before 8 a.m., 6 people had managed to vote, 3 males and 3 females, while 3 people were redirected because their names could not be found on the voters' roll. And yesterday, when I visited the polling station, it had not yet been set around 1 p.m., but the presiding officer, Newton Mavu, told me that they managed to set up the polling station yesterday, and everything is running quite well. While the second polling station is Terminus, called Terminus polling station. It's also in Nkulumane. The presiding officer, Dingane Dube, told me that they are slightly delayed to open because the tent was letting in some water. Remember, it's raining today. So there was a lot of water inside the tent. They had to first clean that water off so that people can be able to enter. By that time, 7:08, there were already 14 people on the queue. So, but around past 8, already there are 22 people who have managed to vote, 11 females and 11 males. Only one person was denied to vote because he or she had no ID, while 3 people were redirected. The other one was redirected to Mgoko polling station, while the other one was redirected to Engine Garage. That is what I have at the moment.
But thanks so much, Mr. And also you're casting your voting money, right? Have you voted yet?
Apparently, I'm also that one person who did not find their name on the voters roll. So they redirected me. I'm hoping that as I do my round, I'll be able to find my name so that I also cast my vote.
But then did you use the *265 to check your polling station and check your totals? What was the thing saying and what are they saying now? Where should you go now?
Okay, they redirected me to where I registered, which is at Prince and Princess preschool. Yesterday when I tried to use the *265, apparently there was poor network, and then I managed to use the other person's phone. They said I entered the wrong ID number. So I'm hoping and praying that as I'm doing my rounds, I'll be able to see my name and cast my vote.
Right, so let's now look at the issue of COVID-19 regulations. Are they being followed in each polling station that we have visited? Are people sanitizing people who come to cast their vote? Are people wearing their masks? Are they adhering to COVID-19 regulations?
Yes, people are adhering to COVID-19 regulations. I see people are wearing their masks, and also when I was entering inside the tents, they managed to sanitize me and also take my temperature. So yes, they are, and also there is social distancing a bit. So yes, COVID-19 regulations are being followed.
And in regards to the weather, I know a lot of people have been talking about water apathy in terms of the weather, which it has been raining since yesterday, essentially, and the rains have continued throughout this morning. So how is the turnout in terms of the rain, and is there shelter as well for voters to come through and cover themselves before they go ahead and cast their votes?
Okay, there are no shelters, but people have umbrellas. And people are really turned out to come. I was actually surprised that people are already on the queue. I thought people by this time they'll be inside their homes, but apparently it's the opposite. People are really coming in to cast their vote with their umbrellas.
All right, Cindy, thanks so much for that update. We'll be getting back to you for more updates as the day goes on this morning. We'll give you by-election updates live from the various polls around the country. We give you an update from Masvingo as well as from Rwanda, and we'll be looking at local constituencies as well as the day progresses. So thanks so much for that update, Cindy. And of course, if you are on your way to vote, or if you are from voting, please do request a mic and let us know what the situation is like on the ground for you. And of course, just a reminder, like Cindy mentioned, that someone was turned away because they did not bring their ID in the first place. So maybe this points as well to voter education.
People need to know what should they bring. Earlier on, let's talk about someone away. So I think for voter education now needs to be done. Maybe going forward for next elections, people need to be aware what to bring and what not to bring.
Yeah, essentially, because I feel like I mentioned earlier on that this is indeed like a litmus test, essentially a forerun for the big run. So these are lessons as well for not only political parties but for executives as well as to how they can improve the situation when it comes to voter registration, when it comes to voters voting in the first place. As the day goes by.
On the issue. So then let's discuss voting money, right? So she went to one station, she was turned away, was the name of part of what also. And that is so frustrating. We go there, ready to vote, but names not there now, to go to another days. I think so frustrating now.
It must be frustrating, especially after enjoying a queue and reading as well. But I also feel like in terms of she highlighted that she did try the whole *265 and network issues. So maybe this is something that can be addressed in terms of, I know that we have techno heads in Zimbabwe who are fully capable of making sure that the situation is addressed. As I said, voters don't necessarily have to go in their physical, to go and check their names on the voters roll, but instead can use their gadgets, whether it is an Android device or even Imbuzi, like we like to say, just to make sure that you are on the voters roll and everything is fine. So these are key lessons that definitely can be learned.
But also the issues of in the rural areas. So now in the rural areas, there's networks. You can't use just the Wi-Fi to check your total network now. First, we're moving to moving to technology, but now network maps is very important in the rural areas. So you can't check your name, you can't check where you are voting. And on the day when you cast your vote, they find your names there. I saw frustrating.
It is absolutely frustrating. So if you are just joining us, we are giving you live updates on today's by-elections on Asake. Remember that in Bulawayo, the elections will be held in Ward 7, Ward 9, Ward 18, Ward 12, Ward 20, Ward 21, and Ward 26. And the vacant National Assembly seats are in Ngulumane and Phumula constituencies.
But also now there's an issue of double candidates in one of those wards. Council elections where the double candidates, the two candidates. I don't know if that issue was resolved or not. So it's going to be another difficult time. Two candidates from same party. I don't know that issue was resolved. Because when I was tweeting several candidates, you can check my timeline, tweeting several candidates after the election. Someone forgot to add someone or forgot to add so and so. It's also participating. But what I see that double candidates in one of the wards in Bulawayo.
And that is absolutely confusing considering what happened last elections. I felt personally that people would have learned the lesson. So hopefully, like you're saying, that the situation has been rectified. I know a couple of days ago, there was a candidate who presented and said this is a city member who they choose the two candidates, but is no longer on the registration as someone to be voted for. So hopefully CCC has sorted out that mess, and of course, hopefully political parties are learning from their mistakes from the last elections. And of course, just a reminder that out of the 28 parliamentary seats up for grabs, 20 were won by NCA, that was way back in 2018, and 18 fell vacant by recalls and 2 by deaths, while 7 were won by ZANU-PF, and 5 were left vacant by deaths, and then 1 recall as well as 1 resignation, while NPF has a vacant seat due to death as well. So these are some of the parliamentary seats which are up for grabs today.
So now, I saw a tweet by government spokesperson Mangwana saying this by-elections are a contest for who is becoming the main opposition party. So CCC and the MCC alliance become the main opposition party. I find that tweet from him kind of not really okay comes from the government.
Okay, you know what? And I feel like, in regards to we can't really say that he behaves like someone who works in the government. So it's not really surprising to hear that from Nick Mangwana. However, he does highlight a key point that's very interesting to see in terms of opposition politics, where the people are aligned at the end of the day, because as you know that there were rallies, there were huge turnouts, there were door-to-door campaigns as well. So it would be interesting to know where people's interests are invested currently when it comes to politics in Zimbabwe.
Also, this by-election is going to give us a review of if Monson is popular, or if the CCC party is popular, or will it get parliament, or if it's going to get more 5 years. I think it's a case of the coming elections next year. What are we going to expect in the coming elections? So I think
it will be very interesting, and of course we will be looking forward to hearing from some of your spokespersons from your different political parties, whether it's LEAD, whether it's ZAPU, ZANU, CCC, and any other party which have filled that kind today, about how they feel in terms of the readiness of ZEC as well. In terms of the elections, yesterday ZEC had said that they are not yet at 100%, but they were almost there. A lot of politicians hadn't yet been set up, or whether they were being manned by one policeman or one executive from ZEC themselves. So it's interesting to know whether they were essentially ready this morning. As you know, we do have our reporters in different areas around the country giving us live updates in terms of the election. So if you are from voting yourself, please do feel free to request the mic and let us know what the situation is like on the ground. I know one of our listeners was like, please let us know what's happening on the ground, so that we can come out. As you know, the rains have really caused an impact in terms of voter turnout and the like. So please do come through and share your experience or what you fixed experience as you go and cast your vote in today's by-elections.
Right now, we are polling stations which are tents which are in open air. Now it's raining. Does that give these contingency measures? If it rains, what happens? What do we do now? The tents, the voting papers, what the ballot papers there? Is rain going to disrupt the voting day? Does that give a contingency measure in case rain, in case something like that happens? Because no one thought yesterday it's going to rain today. So, but alas, today rains.
Yes, today has rained. It has been raining. But like I highlighted earlier, rains are a form of blessing. So maybe it's just to bless elections and to make sure that they go as smoothly and as peacefully as possible. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the day goes in terms of voter turnout, in terms of even those who have been turned away to different polling stations, whether they actually then get to cast their vote. Like Senzeni, our reporter, was highlighting that yesterday she did try to check on the star 265 hash option to see if her name was registered. And today she was turned away from a particular polling station where she thought she was going to register, and she's been turned away to another one, so she'll be heading out to that one. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of voters who have been turned away and those who have voted indeed about their experience.
But also take your time. Remember, if I go to vote station A and then I'm turned away, I go to another one, I queue there. Remember, it's raining. I'm open space. It's raining. I'm queuing again to cast my vote. I'm looking for my name. They should start to swipe. I think, yeah, it's okay to do that, but I should network. So then you check your name for the network. Yeah, it's cool to take online and stuff, but however, I need to have problems in Zimbabwe. In particular in areas of Zimbabwe. So yeah, guys, want to contribute, tell us what's happening in your area, what constituencies is request the mic and contribute to us discussion about updates in Zimbabwe, what happening in Zimbabwe. So I see where we're available again, which is just available. This is Mito McIntyre contribution. Bello, are you there? Oh, very well. Contribution. We seem not to get there.
All right, but nonetheless, just out of interest, so...
Sorry. Sorry. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Velo.
Okay, right now I'm from Zayocha. There's a legal complaint that the font is just too small for the elder to actually notice whom their candidate is, and that confusion might part of... which might not go well to the electorate. So far, that's the complaint we got, but otherwise everything is in place.
So, is it raining in Uganda?
Hello?
Yes, is it raining in Uganda?
No, it's now open cast. Yes, scattered clouds now.
Okay. So it's now in Zayocha?
In Zayocha, they are still sleeping in twos and threes, but they are promising to be coming. Right now, I've left Jaunda and I'm going to Jaunda Park. On the way, I'm meeting people, mainly youth who have voted, and they are excited that they've cast their right.
So now we're still on casting their vote. Let's look at the issue of COVID-19. Are people adhering to COVID regulations one way that casting their vote?
Yes. COVID-19 protocols are being added to, considering that sanitizing, social distancing. Social distancing might be, I think, an understatement because people are not there, so there are no crowds there. Actually, protocol is being observed.
Okay, that is indeed fantastic, and thanks so much for highlighting those key issues that you said were brought up by elderly in your area, who are saying that the ballot paper for them is difficult for them to essentially see which candidate they're voting for. So that is indeed a worrying trend there.
Actually, I'll keep on giving you updates.
Thanks so much for that. I'm going to contact you later on.
Okay, thank you. Most welcome.
All right. So that's Belo from Rwanda giving us an update from Zayota and Jaunda and telling us what's happening in Rwanda in terms of people casting their vote and adhering to COVID-19 regulations. And also, the number of turnout, people are going out to cast their vote. So is the issue of ballot paper now, the font, people they can't see the font, they can't see who their candidate is. So I tell you now, Zach goes to Zach now.
It really does go back to Zach at the end of the day, but like we all knew, and I'm sure the ballot paper was rolled a couple of days ago. People have been complaining on social media that why is it in black and white? I know we had Tim Pachedu on one of our Twitter spaces this weekend. They were talking about why is the ballot paper in black and white and why is it blurry and the likes. But Zach said that is what they were able to do within the time that they were given to prepare for these elections. So I think as well, like I highlighted, that these indeed are lessons, both for the political parties as well as for ZEC at the end of the day. But ZEC, as you know, said that they are all ready for today's elections together with the ZRP, saying that they're ready to ensure free and credible polls that will be contested rather in 28 constituencies and 122 local authorities. So altogether, 1,990 polling stations have been set for mini elections, and yesterday, parties as well as candidates were inspecting the voters' roll as well as staging final rallies. So I feel like everyone had an opportunity to check out the voters' roll. After all, I know yesterday there were complaints about the voters' roll not yet being released and the like. So I don't know how the political parties are feeling about it in terms of their experience yesterday with ZEC, and as well in terms of the elections today. Like you highlighted that the elderly are complaining about the font, which is not really clear, and they're able to really see who their candidate of choice is at the end of the day.
So yeah, later on I'm going to touch base with some spokesperson of the political parties. I'm going to touch with ZAPU as well as CCC and other MDC Alliance to hear from them their experience with the voters' roll and the voting in by-elections in different provinces across the country. So Fungai, the issue now of the police, I haven't heard people talking about the police because Kazembe, the Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Affairs, said on ZPC that he's going to deploy police will be deployed in full swing across all polling stations. So I haven't heard someone talking about the presence of police in any of the polling stations. So I'm going to be asking them, if you're casting a vote wherever you are, please give us feedback on the issue of presence of police. Are police there to maintain law and order? Because Kazembe said they're going to maintain law and order. They're going to be deploying police in full swing to maintain a peaceful environment as people cast their ballot, their vote today for these by-elections. So yeah, we're going to be getting more information from that. Also, Lulu is going to be joining us shortly to tell us more wherever she is and give us update wherever she is about the by-elections updates.
Yeah, indeed. And like Velo just highlighted that it seems like the rains are also passing even in Bulawayo. There's a bit of sunshine that we've just noted there. So hopefully this opens up the doors for people to actually go out and cast their votes. And please remember, if you are headed out to vote, make sure that you carry an umbrella as well as your ID and valid passport to go and vote. Remember that your driver's license will not allow you to cast your vote.
So the issue of voter registration is very important, guys, as we go forward. Be it the CSOs, the NGOs, also the political parties, the issue of voter registration is very important. Because someone can go to the polling, earlier on, let's say someone went with a driver's license. Someone went without an ID. So where are you going without an ID? Where are you going with a driver's license? So I think what's valid is the ID as well as a national passport, a valid passport. So those are the things that are required when a customer vote.
Absolutely. And of course, we are looking forward to hearing from your experience generally on the ground. If you are on your way to vote or if you've just voted, please do let us know how it's going on your end. And just a reminder to Lulu to come through and share what is happening in the area where you are in terms of voter turnout, in terms of whether people are voting and how the turnout is in that particular area.
Today, we haven't done it. We haven't sold anything. We get to pay bills.
Yes, we definitely have to pay our bills. So please remember that Asake offers the following. We do offer event services, live streaming, program sponsorship, documentaries, corporate events, filming, as well as PR services. So all you have to do is call us on 0787 139 460 or on 0773 103 262. And remember that you can get all this information on our website, which is info@site.org.zw. I'll be giving you more ads as the day progresses, but right now we are joined by Lulu Brenda Harris to give us an update from where she is. Good morning, Lulu. How are you? What is happening on the ground where you are?
Hello, good morning. Well, I'm excited because I get to be moving about and seeing people cast their votes. But unfortunately, there's been a low turnout in some of the polling stations that I've been to. And I'm just coming from Phumula Hall. Only 10 people had voted by 8 o'clock. That was 4 males and 6 females. And then 2 people were turned away for not having proper identification. One was carrying a driver's license and the other was carrying a war veteran's card. So these people were turned away. So I think it's really important to highlight the issue of carrying proper identification, that is your national ID and a valid passport. I think more needs to be done on that issue. Then another issue that I observed was the issue of lighting. Lighting seems to be a challenge. Some of the polling stations that I've been to, they were using gas lights. So I think maybe for the next coming elections, I don't know, there should be proper lighting, because this issue, even the previous election in 2018, was also another serious challenge. So lighting really needs to be improved. But anyway, I think so far so good. I see the clouds are now dispersing, so maybe around 12 we'll be having more people who will be joining the queues and voting. Thank you.
Lulu said someone brought a war veteran card.
Yeah, imagine.
Maybe now let's speak now on the issue of the importance of voter education. People seem not to know what to bring or what to carry when they're going to cast their vote. Someone bringing a war vet card. Really?
Yeah. So some people think they can get away with using their war vet card, but please, people, whoever is listening, it's your national ID or a valid passport. Yeah.
Okay, and then in terms of COVID-19 regulations, as you know, before you go, Lulu,
okay,
before you go, I just want to know what the situation is in terms of COVID-19 regulations where you are. Are COVID-19 regulations being observed at that particular station?
Lulu, please unmute your mic and contribute, ma'am.
Yes. There's a washing basin at every polling station. There are sanitizers and their temperatures are being taken and everyone is wearing their mask. So far, so good. No virus will creep in tonight.
All right. Thank you so much for that update, Lulu. I really appreciate you. And we'll be getting back to you as the day proceeds just to find out what is happening in the various polling stations that you are visiting. Brighton, another instance of someone not knowing what to turn up with in terms of voting. Someone brought in their veteran card.
Yeah, now the issue of voter education now is again people have been saying someone went with a driver's license, someone went without an ID. So now someone's going with a war vet card. Like, the issue of voter education is very important now as we get to the elections and the next elections in 2023.
That is absolutely true. And also in line of how Zek was saying that they've done everything in terms of preparations for these elections. Clearly, someone is still bringing their driver's license or even their war veterans card. Not enough has been done. So perhaps these are lessons in terms of going on in future, in terms of voter education as well. So it is also good to hear that the weather is definitely clearing up. So it'll be interesting to see if people do actually turn up in their large numbers to go and vote in their particular wards as the day progresses. Yeah.
Yeah, so the issue of voter education, as you said, is very important. So now it's great to see that the weather is clearing out. People are going to cast their vote. Now the rain has stopped here where we are in the side. So people need to go and cast their vote in Bulawayo, across the country. So we're hearing from someone from Kwekwe now. He's going to be giving us an update from Kwekwe. We're trying to get him online.
Yeah, we are waiting for Tongai. He's a reporter based in the Midlands province that is in Kwekwe to give us an update of what is happening there in terms of the by-election. So remember that in Bulawayo, the elections will be held in Ward 7, Ward 9, Ward 18, Ward 12, Ward 21, as well as Ward 26, while the vacant assembly seats are in Kulumane as well as Pumula constituencies. And just a reminder as well in terms of... I've lost my information, but then that is fine. I wanted to just highlight that out of the 28 parliamentary seats up for grabs, 20 were won by the MDCA, which was the opposition party in 2018. So 18 of those fell vacant by recalls and 2 by deaths, whilst the 7 won by ZANU-PF, 5 fell vacant by deaths and 1 by recall and 1 by resignation, while 1 by the NPF was out of death. And out of the 210 constituencies in 2018, ZANU-PF won 145, MDCA won 63, while NPF won 1, as well as Themba Mliswa has a seat. So it'll be interesting to see how voters are going about their voting. As you know, there were major rallies across the country. There were door-to-door campaigns. There were new political parties. So it'll be very interesting to see how the electorate is going to vote, who they're voting for.
But do you think the issue now is raising the state of who won what during 2018? Do you think as people are going to repeat the same thing that happens in 2018 in terms of which party won this number of seats? Now we have a new party called CCC in the game. So are people going to repeat the same results and going to cast their votes to the same parties as they did in 2018? Also highlighting the key of this is the by-election of the fight between different opposition parties. Everyone wants to become the main opposition party between the MDC Alliance and the CCC. So now, we'll wait to see who becomes the main opposition party after these by-elections.
It will be very interesting. And just in regards to some of the Twitter spaces that we have been hosting this week, it will be interesting to see whether people vote for a political party of someone's capabilities in terms of can they carry them? Do they have the citizens' interest at heart at the end of the day? So to be very interesting to see how that goes about. And like I mentioned, which there were massive rallies across the country, but rallies don't equate to voters' votes at the end of the day. So it'll be interesting to see how people go about their vote.
Remember, also in these rallies, people are given free meals. Remember, some people are given free meal. So people are hungry.
And money.
People are hungry. People want to go there and get the food. But the number of people going to a rally doesn't equate to the number of people belonging to that party or number of people.
Yes, or registered voters, yes, as well.
So yeah, maybe people are going to the rally. I can go to the MDC Alliance rally and go to the CC rally at the same time. So I guess the numbers sometimes don't even matter.
Yes, and actually, now that you mentioned it, I was just thinking of a comment that we heard from one of our Team Pachedu members who came through and he was talking about how some people registered after January, so therefore they will not be able to vote in this particular elections, but perhaps in 2023. So it will just be interesting to see how the voting goes about. But then, of course, we are joined by Tongai, who is based in the Midlands province, to give us an update of what is happening there. Good morning, Tongai. Please unmute your mic and share what is happening on the ground there in Kwekwe. Go ahead, Tongai, and please unmute your mic and share with us your contribution in terms of what is happening in the Midlands province, that is in Kwekwe, by elections. Good morning.
We seem to be not getting Tongai there. So in the meantime, Tongai, as the day progresses, we're going to be giving you live updates from this Twitter space. We are here to 10 a.m. and then from 12 to 2 p.m. Zazila takes over from us, and then we're back again from 4 until 7 p.m. when the polling station closes. So our reporters on the ground are going to be giving you updates, live updates on what's happening on the ground.
Hello.
Tongai, good morning, sir.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Hello.
Yes, Tongai, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. In Kwekwe, the polling station opened in time, and just a few lines on most of the polling stations. In Mbizo constituency, that Methodist polling station, there's just a few lines where there's 2 polling points. Then at the Izzy Donald polling station, there are 2 points, and the voters' row is just outside on the gate, sticked on the gate in benches. So it's difficult for voters to check their names. It's taking time. So people are crowded outside, but there are not many, but they are crowded outside that proper line. Then at Suganda, there is 2 polling points. People are trickling in to go and cast their votes right now. And at Mbizo Center, there's a short queue. There are 2 lines, one for men, one for females, and the polling station is opened a bit early at 7. The environment right now is a bit calm, and people are now going to the polling stations to vote. And we expect maybe the numbers to increase as we go during the day. That's the situation in Kwekwe.
All right, and we've been speaking to a number of journalists who have highlighted that the weather really has not been favorable in terms of people coming to cast their votes. What is the weather like in Kwekwe this morning, and has it impacted in any way voters turning out to cast their votes?
It's hot. It's just calm. It's warm, but the sun is burning a bit hot, and there's issues of water. There's no water around Kwekwe for a week, and so some are busy looking for water first. And I can say, most of the numbers at most polling stations, there are women there who have the high numbers. I think women are coming out in numbers.
Yeah, Tongai, you're raising the very issue now of service delivery. There's no water in Kwekwe now. People are first looking for water before they go and cast their vote. Now we're saying there's high turnout of women casting their vote. So issue now, I saw some article saying that service delivery affecting women mostly, and in now casting their vote, women have got to go in queue and cast their vote. Now they've got to go and look for water. let's talk about that now. The issue of how are women affected by issue of self-delivery and also now queuing for long hours to cast their vote.
Yeah, I think I have to speak to some few women to understand what is the reason behind them going to cast their vote early. What is there's no voter? But I think it is an issue of trying to do the vote first, and then they can go and cast and they will go home and relax or look for voter.
Okay, Tongai, thank you so much for that update. We will be in touch with you once again to get more updates from the Midlands province. As you know, Tongai is in Kwekwe and was just highlighting on the voter turnout this morning. He says that the weather is actually favorable. There has been quite a huge turnout in terms of the female voters. They're coming through to cast their votes this morning. So that is really a positive aspect, really, as you know, that women are part of the hugest population in Zimbabwe. So it's nice to know that women are going out there to cast their vote. And remember that you should also go through and cast your vote if you're in the different wards where elections are happening. And remember if you are heading out, make sure you carry your ID as well as your valid passport. Remember that your veterans card does not count as well as your driver's license.
So now, let's touch on the issue now. Also, when participating in elections, what we talk about, males participating under males. So now, the interesting issue now, the Democratic Opposition Party is one male and there's no female. The Federation of African States is one male, no female. And then we have the Zimbabwe, there's two males, no females. And then also we have the Republican Party of Zimbabwe, there are two males, no female. Then we have the UDA, there's 7 men, no females. You have the UZA, there are 3 males, 1 female. So now the issue of women participating in the elections, the concern now. Yeah.
Yes, it is a worrying trend, but then I feel like I highlighted earlier that these are all lists for different political parties. Obviously, some parties will say, no, we're just formulated months ago, or whenever formulated, they didn't have a chance to go into the grassroots and bring women out of the forefront, actively participating in politics. But I feel like these are core lessons, these are core issues that need to be looked into by different parties to ensure that women actually actively participate in politics. You look even at first world countries as examples where women participate in politics, actively in politics, that the situation on the ground is relatively favorable for women at the end of the day because of their participation in politics. So this is something that all political parties in Zimbabwe should actually look into as to why there's a low turnout of women who are participating in politics, yet women constitute the larger populations in Zimbabwe.
So now someone's asking me, isn't a driver's license status is valid education, especially housing?
I wouldn't know because even banks, I find that banks also have been taking up that thing of not using driver's licenses as a form of registration. So I think it's also extended into the elections as well, that they are only wanting people to come through their IDs as well as passports. But like you just highlighted, that it's also part of voter education, which is very important, because I'd also assumed that the driver's license was valid. A lot of people, I'm sure, have assumed that the driver's license is valid as a form of identification. But I guess we have all learned to listen. So make sure you educate those around you to inform them that the driver's license does not count as identification when you're going to cast your vote.
But what's interesting now was what you say, someone went with a vote red card, cast their vote. Guys, you can't go with a vote red card to cast your vote. Only what's required is your ID, a plastic or metal, that one waiting pass allowed for you to cast your vote. Also, your valid passport. You must buy valid passport before you cast your vote. Those are allowed in cast your vote.
Indeed, and of course, we are just going to give you a fond reminder that if you want to subscribe today to become a member of our Site ZW team and you get the following benefits, such as access to the site library, you receive daily news as well as our monthly newsletter. You can borrow 2 library books or more from our library, depending on what you sign up for. So remember that this is the silver, gold, and platinum services available for you. For more information, do head to our website, info@site.org.zw, and please do follow us on all social media sites. We are at Site ZW on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as well as on Instagram. And as Asake, we also have Asake Event Services. We offer live streaming, program sponsorship, documentaries, corporate events, filming, as well as PR services. So all you have to do is phone us on 0787 139-460 or on 0773-103-262. And remember, you can visit us in person at our beautiful offices located at number 45 Moffat Avenue, Hillside. If you are just joining us, this is This Morning on Asake, and we are giving you by-elections updates from the different areas here in Zimbabwe. As you know, in Bulawayo, the elections are being held in Ward 7, Ward 9, Ward 18, Ward 12, Ward 20, 21, as well as Ward 26. And of course, the vacant National Assembly seats are in Kulumane and Pumula constituencies as well.
So yeah, we're going to be giving you these live updates to Twitter Spaces from now up to 10 a.m. And then it's going to come back at 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And then we're going to come back again at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. as the polling station closes. So now I see someone is tweeting there saying at the Pumula Library, the polling station opened at 7 a.m. There were only 5 ZEC officials, 4 policemen, and 1 political agent. 2 males had voted by 7:05. The lighting was very poor. And also the rain is very disruptive to the voting process in Kulumane 12. The terminal's polling station is due to leaking tent. Now, Fungai, earlier on I spoke about the tents which are in open air. Tents now are leaking. The rain is raining now outside. Tents are now leaking. So in terms of voting, is the process going to be smooth with the tents now leaking, the rains, and the voting going to be smooth?
Obviously, I think at this point we can say that it will not go smoothly. But however, we are happy to know that a lot of people are trickling in terms of wanting to go and cast their vote. Like Tongai highlighted that a lot of women, despite the service delivery issues in Kwekwe, are turning out to go and cast their vote. And we will be getting back to him to find out, Oti, how the experience has been for these various women in these various areas in terms of going out to turn in to go and vote rather. And then of course we did have an update as well from Antela, who is in Kulumane, telling us about her experience in terms of voting. She said this was her second time voting, but the only issue for her essentially was the whole COVID-19 regulations in terms of signing up, having your temperature checked as well. So that I feel like there are different issues for different centers essentially. So it would be interesting to know about people's experience. So if you are heading out to vote, please do feel free to come through and let us know what you expect when you get there. If you are coming from voting, please let us know what the experience was like for you, and so we can share with other voters who will be going through to share their votes this morning.
Also, Velo came through earlier on and Jam said the issue of Gwanda now. Gwanda, it was raining. The elderly couldn't even see the font in the ballot paper because the font is too small. They couldn't see the name of their preferred candidate. So the issue now of ballot paper, the font being too small, and the rains. Someone said earlier on that's in Gwanda. Yeah, Velo?
Hello?
Yes, Velo. Please go ahead and say with your the update.
Okay, the latest update is that some of the electorate, they are complaining that yesterday in the evening around 8, there is one party candidate who went up.
Velo? You seem not to be getting Velo there. I think it's something with the network. We'll try to get the Velo back to hear what he was to say now, what's happening in Gwanda. So earlier on, Velo, and James was saying the issue in Gwanda, the issue of the open air, open spaces. Now people are casting their vote and they're queuing in the rains. Imagine casting a vote, you have to go queue in the rain, and there's low vote turnout. People sanitizing, and people are going with their IDs and so on. But however, social distancing was not adhered to because there were low turnout of people going to cast their votes.
Absolutely. And yesterday as well, just looking at some people were complaining about the irregularities at various different polling stations. I know that someone was complaining about how there was no electricity and voters could not see in the dark yesterday their names were on the voters roll. Therefore, they had to wake up today to go and check their names on the voters roll, and then finding that name is not there, then you have to go to a different area altogether. Coupled with the weather conditions as well, I mean, like obviously it kind of puts you off as a voter as well. But I'd like to urge the general public, it is important for you to go and cast your vote. Do not lose hope because of these, deterrents as well,
And also, then also wanted to cast their vote in Kulumane, but however, she went to the polling station and found out that their name was not there, and she referred to another polling station. And also the issue of star 265, wanted to check your name. I tried to do that, but however, the issue of network now, she couldn't check because of network. So I want to hear from you guys, wherever you are. What's the update from where you are? Are people going to cast their vote? Did you check your details on star 265? What's happening? Is it raining? How is rain going to affect the voting day? And the issue of COVID-19, are people adhering to COVID-19 regulations as they cast their vote?
Indeed. And remember that we just got an update as well that at Nkulumane Terminus polling station, that is at 8:05 rather, 22 people had managed to cast their votes. 3 were redirected while 1 was turned away because they had no ID. So please remember that if you are heading out to vote, or if you have someone within your household who is heading out to vote, please remind them to carry their ID and a valid passport to go and vote. A driver's license does not count as identification. So please note that before you head out.
So at 9 a.m., we're going to be joined by Manda, one of our journalists who's on the ground, to be giving us updates what's happening wherever he is. So at 9 a.m., we're going to be talking to Manda and also going back to Senzen to hear from you what's happening in terms of, is she casting your vote yet? Nah.
Yes, indeed. We will be looking forward to updates from our different journalists from site. And remember, while you are in your queue and you are short of what you can be doing, make sure that you tune in to Site ZW on Twitter. We will be giving you updates right up to 10 o'clock this morning. And then Zenzele will come through from 12 until 2 o'clock with more updates. And then we will continue from 4 up to 7 p.m. when the voting stations are essentially closed.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. Too much talking, too many updates. It's going to be a long day. Yeah.
Yes, it is indeed going to be a long day, but then we do look forward to it. And I'm just going through some of the tweets which are found on Twitter. It seems like a lot of people are showing off their pinkies, which are now dyed blue or that purple. I'm not sure. But congratulations to everyone who has turned out and gone to cast their votes. I feel it is very important, particularly as we head towards the 2023 elections. This is sort of like a litmus test to see where people's standing are in terms of politics here in Zimbabwe. So it will be very interesting to see how that is going. And of course, ZEC has been talking about how they are ready for today's elections. So altogether, remember that there are 1,990 polling stations have been set for the mini elections. And yesterday, parties and candidates are inspecting the voters' roll as well as staging final, rallies and preps across the country. I saw some people were giving away, food parcels. Yeah. Others were giving away money. Others were just talking one-on-one with their different electorates. So it'll be interesting to see the effect, rather, of all of this in terms of voter participation, which parties people are going to align with, or which people are going to align with in terms of their votes.
So now we're getting another update from Ward 20 Emasimini polling station. 6 people have managed to cast their votes before 8 a.m., 3 males and 3 females, while 3 were turned away due to that their names do not appear on the voters' roll. But now, Fungai, we have the star 265 to check your name if it appears on the voters' roll. People had time to check their names if they appear on the voters' roll. Now people are being turned away because their name does not appear on the voters' roll. That's what 20 in Emasimini. That's quite frustrating again, to be turned away because your name does not appear or you're carrying the wrong document.
It is absolutely frustrating, I feel, as a voter for that to be happening. But you know what? We look to seeing what happens as the day progresses. Like someone highlighted that it is still early morning and the weather had played a factor in people participating in the elections, as a lot of people were not coming through due to the rains. And like you highlighted that some tents were even having rainwater seeping through while people are casting their votes. But I see some updates from Beitbridge as well. Apparently voters were checking for their names at Beitbridge Mission Primary in Ward 4. The voters are trickling in despite the light showers. So I feel this is an opportunity as well for voters to just come through and check for their names. It must be tedious as well because I'm looking at the number of sheets. They imagine taking for your name one by one throughout that. So yeah, interesting to see how the day does progress.
And someone says, it's in Zanga Corner A polling station in Bulawayo, Ward 160, the finger marker for showing that one is already voted is not working.
Oh dear.
So in that area, what do we do? Like the finger marker is not working, but ZEC said they are ready for the election.
You know what? ZEC actually highlighted that they'd like to be given 10%, room for error, essentially. So maybe this is some of the errors that they're talking about. But I don't know what they're going to do in terms of the finger marker, because this could also lead to, I don't know. Mm-hmm. You can manipulate the system that way. I think there's a reason. Obviously, we know why you have a finger marker, to ensure that, yes, you have cast your vote, you're not going to cast your vote again. So it is worrying essentially, but then it is, like I said, a lesson.
Yeah, also, I think people are not aware of the code of conduct for observers, also for candidates. So I think someone saying now in ZANU-PF is passing voters in Harare East and Kwekwe Central. So people are not aware of the code of conduct, or you can't campaign on the day of the election. You can't campaign. I think there's a certain distance that you can campaign.
Mm-hmm. You can 3 kilometers from the voting
center. But now people
are
passing people from one point to another. That's kind of lobbying for votes or kind of campaigning for votes? Zimbabwe for you. Elections, are they free and fair or credible?
Very interesting. Someone would argue essentially that no, they're helping their neighbor and giving them a lift to the polling station, especially in light with the weather today. Someone could argue that essentially. And of course, more tweets coming through. I see at Godlayo, A primary school and B presiding officer says 9 people have so far voted. That is 7 males and 2 females, and no one was turned away. So I think that is a thumbs up to that area, that is Kodlayo. And then, of course, Pumula Library and Pumula constituency, the station was open at 7 a.m. to allow people to vote in today's by-election. So apparently they're saying that 5 people have voted according to ZEC. That is 3 females and 2 males so far. So please, if you are intending on casting your vote, please do make sure you go through the ballots, the voting polling stations will be closed at 7 p.m. today. So make sure you go and exercise your right to vote.
Right, so Fungai, I'm seeing my timeline is now purple. Everyone, there's a purple finger all
I'm
over
actually
the
jealous
timeline.
now,
I'm
personally.
jealous as well. Really. I wish my area also had a by-election. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm seeing purple fingers all over on the timeline. Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. Also, Umzuka Kodlwa was saying about the issue of the driver's license, why they're not allowed to use the driver's license to cast your vote. So yeah, I think people are not aware of the information. I think what's valid is the ID and a valid passport. Someone went with a World card. That thing still intrigues me. Why? How can you carry a World card to cast your vote? It's quite interesting. So I see we are joined by Manda now. Yeah, Manda is one of our reporters to give us an update on what's happening where he is. So we're going to get in touch with Mbela again in Gwanda, as well as James is going to come back, as well as Senzeni in Kulumane to give us more updates on what is happening wherever they are. So now Mike is trying to connect. In the meantime, guy.
Yes, and just a reminder that if you are headed out to vote for your convenience, you can check your voter registration, that is on bvrinspection.sec.org.zw. So if you hadn't yet headed out and you're just trying to see where your name is on the voters roll, make sure you head out to bvrinspection.sec.org.zw. That is where, for your convenience, you can check your voter registration status before you head out.
So Mike is still connected there on our space now. This is the morning space on Asaki. We're giving live by-election updates from every polling station in Zimbabwe. We've been talking to people from Kwekwe, from Gwanda, from Kulumane, from Pumula. Leslie was in Pumura. Remember, Leslie was in Pumula, give us an update. So yeah, we're going to be touching base with our journalists on the ground, telling us what's happening. Remember, we're going to end the space at 10 a.m. and then 12 to 2. Zanzele comes through to give you more updates, and then we are back again for 7 p.m. giving you more updates. I see our reporters just left the space. I think the issue of network now.
Yeah, network is an issue, particularly with the rains and the likes, but that is still fine. We will be in touch with Mandla and just give you an update from the area where it is. And of course, Ward 20, that is Masimini polling station. 6 people had managed to cast their votes before 8 a.m. And that is 3 males and 3 females, while 3 were redirected to other polling stations because their names could not be found on the voters roll. So interesting, this is quite the trend, essentially, of people being turned away and being made to go to other polling stations. But perhaps in future, and I know this is a thing with ZEC, I know they're talking about it, how they present the voters roll 3 days before the voting takes place to ensure that people know where to go in for, such that there's no wastage of time. But it is unfortunate that even yesterday, people were saying that it was difficult to look at their names because it was dark. Lighting was very much limited and people were unable to take the names. So people are checking this morning, and there seems to be a bit of a crowd around, these papers as well. So I think these, like I said, are lessons to learn to make sure that in the upcoming elections for 2023, people are not wasting time. People essentially go in, they vote, they cast their votes, and they head on home and wait for the results.
Our reporter ground from science is showing us a video. I'm seeing it now on our timeline. The Alliance candidate in complaining about the irregularities at Senzanga Kona Primary School polling station. There is no electricity, and the voters cannot see in the dark. Let me try to see if you can play this video for our listeners. Let's see.
amakhandideti akhali naza kula magetsi amaklasi avali amagetsi ahambile kumnyama phakathi amabhotini avali kula makhona khona bathi abhali yasikredi sasikredi yakilo kwakusana.
Yo, Fungai, here from here says there's no electricity wherever she is in Mganwini, Sazangakona constituents. So these are very issues that are very depressing when it comes to the voters casting their vote. They can't see in the dark. There's no lighting, there's no electricity. So yeah, it's a difficult time for voters to cast their vote. So I see now Sansele just joined us, he wants to contribute and want to hear from him what's happening wherever he is. He's going to be giving us his update shortly as he tries to connect.
Yeah, it is indeed a worrying trend to find that like there is no electricity, particularly with people who woke up pretty early in the morning to go and cast their votes. I feel like as well the weather has played a part in that, because obviously the classrooms will be darker due to the fact that there is a lot of cloud cover, particularly in Bulawayo. Today it has been raining since morning, so that is indeed worrying. But hopefully this doesn't turn into voter apathy at the end of the day and people do essentially go and cast their vote. I would like to invite Zenzele to come through and share his contribution this morning. Good morning, Zenzele.
Morning, Fungai. Just one observation. I think you've talked about people who go to polling stations and find their names not there. I think this is the issue that Pachedi has been talking about, that people were unknowingly moved from their polling stations to different polling stations. And I find it quite strange that, I know maybe that's how ZEC works, that they will avail the voters roll only 3 days before people can vote, and you were highlighting the issues with there will be no lighting and all those kind of things, and people go to the polls not knowing where they are going to vote in case they were moved. And I think people need to really interrogate ZEC on why people were moved, because these were the issues that Pachedi has been talking about on a number of spaces that we've hosted them, and they've been saying on voting days people go there and they won't find their names because people have been moved and they've gone to, they've been put in different places. By elections largely they have low turnout. And if you end up at the end of the day, you have 600, 400, 200 people being turned away, it's a big number, and it can have an impact on the results. And I hope those who, organizations that monitor elections and the media are going to raise these issues with ZEC and actually, make sure these issues are addressed. It will be interesting as well at the end of the day to see how many people have been turned away because they went to a wrong polling station or the polling station that they voted the last time.
Thank you so much, Zenzele, for that. Zenzele, now let's look at the issue of COVID-19 and adhering to COVID-19 as we cast their vote. Someone said earlier on they delayed writing their names on those people checking their temperatures, writing their addresses in terms of contact tracing. So let's look at that. How is that going to affect in terms of, about maybe issues of voter intimidation? How is that going to affect the voting and also people fearing to cast their vote because of they're going to check their names, their temperatures, and so on and so on?
I mean, voting is supposed to be, I know the actual voting is supposed to be a secret, but I guess the whole process is supposed to be a secret as well. But if you are now writing our names, really, do you think there will be contact tracing? If ever there was a COVID case, do you think they will even bother tracking people and calling all of them? But we have had cases in the previous elections where, political parties will say to you, you are supposed to go and vote, and we'll make sure that you go and vote. Tactics that are used in rural areas, that each headman goes with these people, the people queue around, behind the headman, and they tick that they voted. So if there is a political party that has told these members that the 2,000 of you are supposed to go and vote, and we are going to check whether you have gone and voted, they can simply go and get that name, the list of people who have registered, take photos, or even take the list and check whether their people have voted. So I find that these COVID protocols can actually be an intimidation tactic in a way. Why can't people just check their temperature, sanitize, wear their masks? I mean, since COVID started, we've been writing names in our banks, in our, wherever we go. How many of us were ever called that there had been a COVID case in a place where you visited, or someone that you were in the bank with has tested COVID positive, so you should go and vote? So I think these COVID protocols, in quotations, are likely to discourage people from exercising their democratic rights. Elections in Zimbabwe are not friendly. They are always associated with intimidation, with violence. Making people write their names at a polling station, I don't think is a good idea.
And now, on the issue of rains in Bulawayo, it's raining in Bulawayo. Some complain that the ZEC tents that are in the open space, they are leaking. So how is that going to affect the issue of voting, and also people in other areas, there are no shades for people to hide away from the rain?
I mean, that shows preparation in the state of preparedness for ZEC. Why would you bring a tent that is leaking? But also, it's good that the weather is kind of like clearing up, because in the morning it was raining and people were really not going to go and vote. But if the tent is leaking, what if the ballot papers are rained on and all those kind of things? Or even the people who are conducting the elections themselves, if they get rained on, are they going to really do their work, in a more effective way? So these are some of the things that I think at the end of the day, people should ask themselves: was ZEC prepared for this election? Is ZEC prepared for 2023? Will ZEC ever be prepared for an election where there will be an election that is done and no one is complaining? Because some of these mistakes, yes, they are small, they might not affect the outcome of the vote, but these are the things that people look at when someone has lost. They will tell you, my people didn't go because it was raining and they didn't want to get rained on. So why can't we get this thing right, so that no one complains of these issues that might be seemingly look small, but they always surface? Lulu was talking about the issue of lights, that you go into a polling station, there are no lights. I mean, people know that there are going to be elections, they prepare. Why can't they make sure that there is sufficient light in the tents? So I find some of these things quite amazing, that will be failing to address small issues like lights.
So thank you so much, Zenzele, for the update that you're giving us. Zenzele is going to be joining us at 12 to 2 p.m. on this space, giving us more updates wherever our ourselves are. So now we're trying to get Mandla back on space, but however, it says there's no network in Mkanini. Mandla, I see you now as speaker. Please, Mandla, go ahead with the contributions. Good morning, Mandla. Yeah,
we seem to be having connectivity issues with Mandla, but I think Uzenzele highlighted a very key issue in terms of ZEC's preparedness, so to speak. ZEC yesterday was saying that they are almost at a...
Mandla, can you hear us? Mandla, good morning. Can you hear us? Network challenges again.
Yeah, network challenges again.
So yeah, this was highlighting the issue of electricity. Now in other areas, someone is saying there's no electricity. Mandla, good morning.
Good morning, Brighton. Can you hear me now?
Yes, clearly. Say, go ahead to the contribution, sir.
What's happening? Thank you so much. Yes, Brighton, I'm here in Mkanwini, Ward 26, and I have so far visited the 2 polling stations. The first polling station that I visited is Mkanwini High School, where I was there between 7:15 and 7:40. And what I have observed there is that there was a low voter turnout, and most of the people that were voting there were the elderly. And what was slowing the process is the fact that people have to first check if their names are on the voters' roll. At Mkanwini High School, there are 3 voting centers, meaning to say the polling station is divided into 3 sub-polling stations, where you first have to check your name, maybe at polling station A. If your name is not there on polling station A, you go to B, and then you end at C. So at the end of the day, you vote where your name is. So some people were really complaining that this is delaying them. Why not make the process easier? And then from Mkanwini High School, I went to Senzanga Corner Primary School. And there at the gate, I just met with the MDC Alliance candidate there, Smangele Ndebele, who complained that the place where they were voting is dark, there is no electricity, the pens were not writing, people had to struggle to mark, I mean their votes. So she was saying she is really not happy. So when I got inside there, I spoke to the presiding officer, who told me that between as at 8 rather 25 people had voted, and the 2 were turned away because their names were not on the voters roll. And she explained to me that when they opened at 7, indeed it was dark because it was raining. So they had to use some candles as some form of light. And then in terms of pens that were not writing, she said most of the pens that they were using are new, so people had to first scratch them. But she said the problem has since been rectified. I think that's what I can give you for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that update, Mandla. Maybe my question would be towards the irregularities that you're pointing out, like the CCC member said, Essenzanga Corner. Has this resulted in voter apathy as well, in terms of how you're talking about the lighting, and the elderly were having a difficult time using candles as well to place their votes where they want? And how are the voters taking these challenges in light of the weather, as well as the inability to see the ballot papers properly?
Okay, thank you so much, Fungai. In terms of voter turnout, people there's low voter turnout, but I think maybe rains might have contributed because there are no queues. In the previous elections, though this one is a by-election, whenever you go to a polling station, you find people queuing. But this time around, there are no queues. You just see people checking their names, this and that. But there are very, very few people really. There are no queues.
So COVID-19, man, let's talk about COVID-19 now. Are the people adhering to COVID-19 regulations? Are they sanitizing? Are they taking their temperatures? Are they wearing masks? Are they adhering to COVID-19 regulations?
Okay, in terms of COVID-19, where I started at Mganwini High School, because I'm also a registered voter there. So when I got there, I first checked my name, and then I had to proceed to the next place where they just took my temperature. I realized that their thermometer was not that good. To try it 3 times. But in terms of sanitizers, I had one of the polling officers saying, we don't have enough sanitizers. I wasn't sanitized myself, but I proceeded and I voted. In terms of COVID-19 really protocols, I don't think much is being done there. There is some form of relaxation.
All right, and Mandla, you just highlighted that you just voted as well. What was your experience like? I know a lot of people have been complaining about the ballot paper. Did you have issues with the ballot paper, or you felt that you were able to cast your vote essentially in an environment that you feel was pretty much okay?
In terms of the ballot paper, I think the one irregularity, not irregularity as such, in terms of colors, it's black and white. So the paper is yellow, but when it comes to candidates, it's just black and white. Meaning to say, if you don't know your candidate exactly, you might make a mistake. But as for me, I knew what I wanted. But I think some voters might have had challenge, especially the elderly, since they were complaining of lighting and so forth. Can you imagine someone is already complaining about lighting, and then the ballot paper is darkish? Like, I think it's one of the challenges that I noticed there.
Thanks so much, Mandy. I love the way you say, I know what I wanted on the ballot paper. So yeah, very interesting that reference that you are raising right there from Mkanun, right? Just Mkanun, right? So yeah, people are, in terms of identity COVID-19, it says the temperature checks, those things, machines are not working. So it takes a lot of time to do. Imagine there are people queuing outside and they're taking much time to take temperature on one. So how long will it take all those temperatures out our name? So I guess now COVID-19 regulations and also casting your vote, I think it takes time now to cast your vote.
It really does. And he also highlighted the fact that their polling station was subdivided into 3 voters' rolls, meaning that if you don't find your name on the first one, you have to go to the second, and then the third one is also, that's also, it's daunting really as a voter, especially if you just want to go and cast your vote and get out of the rain. As you know, today has been quite a rainy day. But thank you so much, Mandla, for that update. We'll be coming back to you to find out more from the polling station, Guti, how the voter turnout is and whether people are happy with the conditions in terms of voting. We are going to head back and talk to Ululu to update us on what's happening, which is Lulu. Good morning once again. Tell us what's happening on the ground.
Yeah, so I'm just from Hali Primary at Magwegwe. So what Mandla highlighted, you see there are 3 polling stations in one center. So now these 3 stations, they've divided the names. So apparently there's polling station AA, polling station AB, and polling station B. So now if your surname starts, let's say, with an M, you have to go to one of the polling stations, which is categorized from A to M. Then you go from M to Z. So that's quite confusing. So I think that's going to cause a lot of chaos there. I don't know why it's like that, but I think something should be done to highlight that, because when many people were being redirected to the other polling station. And then interestingly, there was a 90-year-old man who walked in and he had to be assisted to vote. So the process, apparently, he walks to the polling booth with the presiding officer and the police officer. So what happens is they will get there and then he will choose the candidate that he wants to vote for. Then the presiding officer will cast the vote on his behalf while the police officer stands witness. So that was quite interesting to observe. Then I moved on to Magwekwe Youth Center, and there was another interesting case. There was another elderly woman who wanted to vote but was registered in Lupane Ada. So she heard that people were voting today, so she also came to vote, but her details are in Lupane. So that is what has been happening today. Thank you, Fungi.
Lulu, you spoke about Lupane. What do you say about Lupane? So someone is in urban areas.
Yes, there was an elderly woman who was registered in Lupane. So when she heard that people were voting today, she also came up to vote at Magwekwe Youth Center. So she was told that her details are at Lupane, so she cannot vote. So I think more needs to be done on voter education, because people think everyone is voting at whatever polling station, you see. So she was
very
turned
true,
away.
very true, Lulu. So, I think someone was also saying to me, have you voted yet? I'm like, no. There are different wards which are casting votes, which are also recalled from councils or from MPs. So people assume that everyone is casting their vote. So I think the issue of voter education is very important now.
Yeah. So this issue has been lacking. So I think these are lessons for ZEC if they are taking note of these issues, that people really do not know exactly what is going on. Yeah, and this issue of redirecting voters to certain police stations, for me, it's quite confusing. So now you can imagine to the ordinary layman, now they're supposed to understand this. So I don't know how next time they can improve this issue, because it's very, very confusing. You go to this polling station, you're told, no, your surname doesn't appear on this. Go to the next one. I think it will actually turn away some people. It should actually discourage some people from actually voting.
It is absolutely a frustrating situation. And how is the turnout, though, Lulu? Are people coming out in their numbers? I know that
it's not really good. It's not really good, because at Magwekwe so far they've only served about 19 people since opening at 7. So you can see the numbers are not really that encouraging as well. But maybe, as I said, maybe after 12, when the sun is now out, people will be encouraged to go out and vote.
Okay, Lulu, thank you so much for that update. We'll be getting back to you for more updates as the day progresses. So pretty interesting points that she highlighted there, Brighton. She spoke about how a 90-year-old gentleman came through to the polling station and obviously needed the help of ZEC authority to help him, as well as a policeman in directing him to a particular form of voting. She also spoke about a lady who assumed she was registered this side and had gone through to vote this morning and was turned away and told her details are in Lupane, which is how many kilometers away from Bulawayo.
So now I've got to travel to Lupane. By 7 p.m. it will be like, what time do we get to Lupane from Bulawayo now?
Yes. So, these are very worrying trends. And I think Zenzele spoke about that as well, about in terms of ZEC and some of these issues that they should take note of, and these irregularities. I talk when I say irregularities because as a entire system which has been holding elections in Zimbabwe since I don't even know how long ago, they should know better. So this really is essentially worrying.
But now ZEC said they are ready to do an election. However, now in different polling stations, there's no electricity in Mkamini, there's no electricity. People can't use candles. Some can't even see the ballot paper, the font on the ballot paper. But ZEC said they are ready for the by-election. So can ZEC deliver a free and fair, credible election? I wonder.
Yes, I wonder the same as well. Nonetheless, I'd like to invite Aesthetic Shona to come through and share your contribution. Please unmute your mic and share with us your experience on what's going on in terms of the by-elections. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Lou. It's been such a great experience for myself. The queues are really beginning to build up. By the way, I'm voting from Harare. And I just wanted to advise the ladies, hey, because I just came from voting and I had my nails done. So that will really delay you. They require specifically for your nails to be clean. So whether you have like a gelish or you have nails, it'll be very difficult for you to do it once you get to the polling station. So just a bit of advice to the ladies to say, as you go to vote, please be ready because this will take up your time and you might end up breaking a nail. But let's register to vote and let's go and vote.
All right, so thank you for highlighting that. So what is the process like in case I've just got my nails done yesterday? So why does it take longer in terms of me getting my opportunity to vote?
They'll move you to the back of the line simply because you need to prepare your finger to be able to place your vote. And when you have a nail, taking it off is difficult. You can imagine you need like actual technicians to take care of that. But when you get there, they're giving you a scissors, which is not that resourceful, especially if you have gelish. It took me like about 30 minutes just to get my nail clean enough at the polling station. So I'm not sure how the ladies get ready to do this, see a technician, or just take some time whilst they're still home. Otherwise, you're going to have to rejoin the line.
Thank you so much for highlighting that. And what was your experience like in terms of voting? I know people have been talking about COVID-19 checks. Is that the same thing that's happening in Harare? And what was your general experience in terms of casting your vote?
Yeah, so there are checks. What they did is they decentralized the voting rooms. So depending with your specific, you can check do the star 265, which would be so much quicker. But they also have the list of names. So they ask you specific ward, is it A, B, etc. going on, and they have the names pasted, so you can easily identify which room you're supposed to vote in. So that also quite decentralizes the lines. So they're not that long, but you still need to queue in whatever room you have to end up voting in. So, and there's police everywhere. It looks pretty civil at the moment. And there are also observers in the room, quite a number of them. The lines are quite regulated. COVID-19 protocols are being adhered to. You have to wear your mask, you have to observe social distancing. And you're also being sanitized at 2 to 3 stations as you go through the process. So that's the update from Harare.
Thanks so much for that contribution and that update from Harare. So now, Fungai, the issue of people going to the polling stations with their nails, going with their not maybe wrong documents. Some are assuming that the voting is for every corner of this country, but however, there are certain wards and constituencies where there was the recalls and also the by-election. So I guess the issue of information now is it CSOs, the NGOs who failed to get out the information out there to the people. I see now we've just joined by Honorable Diara Koba. Please go ahead, say with the contribution. I see is left. Velo, I see you're back again, Velo. What's your contribution, sir?
Okay, thank you. As I was making rounds, I just bumped to one of the candidates from Triple C, Justin Majale. He just highlighted that he has a challenge because right now in the morning, some opposition, not opposition, a ZANU-PF candidate was seen around distributing some 10 kgs of meal, and while on the other side placing some youths around the corners who are intimidating people who are going to the polling station, and that is so much worrying. And he has since reported the issue to the police, but now
I seem to have lost Velo there, but Velo was raising some important issues that the PF candidate was distributing medicinal and also encouraging other youths to canvassing for votes. That's not allowed, right?
No, that is actually very much illegal. I think we have Velo back. Velo, are you back?
Hello? Yes, I'm back. Did you hear?
Yes.
Did you get all right?
Please start again. Start again so you can hear. You can get a clear message.
Okay, I said I've just bumped around with one of the candidates from Triple C, Justin Majale. He made a complaint that the ZANU-PF candidate was seen around the corners distributing some 10 kgs of meal in the morning, and at the same time they were dropping some youths around the corners who are calling people, intimidating them, and telling them whom to vote for. He has since reported the case to the police, but nothing has been done so far.
Thank you so much for that update, Mvelo. And it is very much worrying, as you know, that ZEC rules indicate that you cannot be within 3-kilometer radius of the venue, whether you want to put up posters, whether you want to campaign or to whatever. So it is certainly a worrying trend. And we're glad that the matter has been reported to the police. So we'll be looking towards updates from you, Mvelo, as to what has happened in terms of that issue. A special thank you to Aesthetic Shona for coming through and highlighting Uti ladies. If you're going out to vote, your nails might just get in the way and you might be turned back to the back of the queue. They're giving you scissors to handle your business. So please make sure you head out there with clean nails. I'd like to invite Honorable D. Koba to come through with your contribution. Please do unmute your mic and share your contribution this morning as we are discussing the by-elections updates on Asake.
Thank you very much. I think the good thing that we have seen across the polling station is that everything is peaceful, everything is going on very well. What is now very disappointing is we've got people like Mvelo who then come here and parade lies and falsehoods for the purposes of trying to gain political mileage for their own candidates. We have to understand, like the deputy secretary of information of ZANU-PF said yesterday, it's very clear that this is not a ZANU-PF election. We are just in it. We had lost these elections in 2018, so this is not our race. We're just getting in, but the race is between who is the main opposition party, and that is obviously between Monzora and Nelson Chamisa. So I think it is fair to open the playing field and be truthful in our narrative. ZANU-PF is only getting seats because they are being handed over to us on a silver platter. But it does not mean we will buy votes. I don't think that is something that we would be doing right now. Our focus is on 2030. Our focus is on next year. We are just fortunate enough.
Honorable, what's your update now? What's happening wherever you are in terms of by-elections?
Yeah, I just wanted to just correct the narrative by Mvelo, who's now perpetuating falsehoods. But in general, I think everything is peaceful. We can see that everyone is voting peacefully. These things are just starting. So we wait and see how the day progresses. But we just hope that people do not spread falsehoods during the course of the day. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable, for coming through there with your contribution. I see a lot of people have requested the mic this morning, so I'll start off with Judy and then head on to K2. If you just unmute your mic, Judy, and share your contribution this morning. Nyasha, I see you've requested the mic. Also head on to you right after Judy. Yeah, go ahead, Judy, and share your contribution. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm in the UK. I just wanted to update you on that Honorable Ryan. He's a ZANU-PF apologist. He's not in Zimbabwe. He's lying. He's just there to disrupt what's going on. He's somewhere outside the country, so he is not on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
I am in Harare.
Thank you so much for that information.
If you want my location,
right?
I can send it through. I am in Harare.
Right, thanks so much, Judy, for that information. All right, let's go back to our by-election update. Then we have who else is coming back now? Energy, you have the mic. Please go ahead with the contribution.
Yes, good morning, guys. You're doing a great job. Just want to say, anybody that is not saying what your program is about, please just unmute them and take them off. Yes, I'm going to give you some updates from Mberengo South. I am in the UK, but I've just had updates from Mberengo South, where there is the contest for a member of parliament and also the councillor. The process is absolutely beautiful there. The polling stations are peaceful. People are building up, and people have actually turned out to vote early in the morning. The queues are growing bigger and bigger. That is in Mberengo South, in the Zishane district. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Energy, for that feedback that you're giving us. Then we have another one, Mvelo, back from Gwanda. Mvelo, what's the update from Gwanda now?
Hello, I'm just responding to this honorable who said I'm spreading falsehoods. It's unfortunate that this platform cannot talk an audio, but given a chance, because I was recording the candidate, so I will post the audio, and if the host can manage to repost it to this person who's saying I'm spreading falsehoods, then you will see that it's not from me, but it's the candidate on the ground.
Thanks so much, Mvelo, for that feedback from Gwanda. We're raising very important issues, what's happening, and from Gwanda. Mvelo just joined us from 7:30 up to now. He's been speaking to us from Gwanda, telling us what's happening in Gwanda, and also giving a feedback in terms of the by-election and COVID-19 regulations, what's happening in terms of candidates are going there, and also number of people have casting their vote. So I see now I've been joined by another one, want to add their submissions. So guys, if you're just joining us, this is the by-election update on Asake. My name is Brighton and I'm joined by Fungai. We'll be giving you updates from 7:30 up to 10 a.m. So at around 12 p.m. up to 2 p.m. Zandile comes through to join us and give more updates. And then we'll be back again from 4 p.m. up to 7 p.m. So I see our editor there, Leslie, is just joining us again. Leslie, please do request the mic. We want to hear from you what's happening in Pumula or wherever you are now in terms of the election. The rains have stopped in Bulawayo. What's happening now? Are people going out in large numbers? Want to know from you what's happening. I see now it's time to connect. Fungai?
Very interesting there. A lot of people are highlighting issues, but for me, I feel like the key issue there is in terms of voter education. As someone was talking about a 90-year-old gentleman who had to be accompanied by a ZEC official as well as a policeman to go and cast his vote. I feel like a lot of people have to be educated on these processes in case there are elderly people within your household as to what happens when they're going to cast their votes. Because for me personally, I don't have information of what happens in such situations. And then there's also a talk of a lady who was registered this side, but then was redirected to go to Lupane, which is several kilometers out of Bulawayo to go and cast a vote. So we are requesting you to come through and share your experiences in terms of voting. I know Aesthetic Shona shared her experience. She said the nails were getting in the way of her casting her vote and she had to wait a little bit longer to cast a vote. So now we go on to our editor here at site, Leslie, to share his experience of where he's covering the by-elections. What is the situation on the ground? How is the voter turnout in terms of the elections this morning? Please do feel free to come through and share your contribution. Good morning, Leslie.
So you try to wait for Auntie to join us there. I see he's connecting. I see a message from now on WhatsApp. Someone says, "Good morning. I am at a polling station already," and they say, "Please remove your nail polish or artificial nails or the little left finger on the little left finger." Most ladies will have Q-tex or artificial nails, so be warned and be ready, or you won't vote. So please be warned there. If you are having long nails, please cut them. Because some are being turned away because of that thing. So we're waiting for our editor today to join us, Leslie, to give us more feedback on what is happening wherever he is.
It is very interesting. So a number of people being turned away from polling stations, as we have seen, and it is indeed a worrying trend, particularly as the voters' roll was unveiled to the public late, essentially. So it's interesting to know whether people are actually able to cast their votes. I know that the weather had also been a negative impact as well. A lot of people highlighting that the weather is impacting their ability to go out and vote. Good morning, Leslie. Once again, what is happening in the area where you are this morning?
Okay, good morning, Fungai. Good morning, Brighton. Once again, right now we are at City in Mpopoma. I think so far the turnout has been good. I think for all the polling stations that we have visited since morning, this one has the highest turnout so far. So as at 9:21, that is at 9:21, 41 people had voted. That is 28 male and then we have 13 female. But then there are some people who were turned away. I think 5 of them. Some of them, their names were not appearing on the voters' roll, and then some had registered after the closure of the registration period. And then in another case, the one person came with a photocopy of ID. So you're not allowed to bring a photocopy of your ID. So you're supposed to bring the original ID or a valid Zimbabwe passport. So I think we continue to meet some of these interesting cases. Earlier on, we had someone bringing their war veterans card. Now someone bringing a photocopied a copy of a photocopy of their national ID, and so they were turned away. And then here at MCTL also they do not have sanitizers. One of the polling officers was actually complaining that he's handling people's IDs and all, and he doesn't have sanitizers. And so I think that's an issue to ZEC to say they should have at least made sure that their officials are given sanitizers and everything else, since we are still in the COVID era. So I think then the other issue was the pens were faint, but you have to sort of like shake it and then it starts writing. So I think those are some of the issues here at Msiteli in Mpopoma. But I think the turnout is quite improving in the polling station that we have visited in the last hour, because it has stopped raining in most areas, and so people, I think, they're now coming out to cast their votes.
Thank you so much for that update, Leslie. And what are people saying in terms of their experience in terms of voting? Are people pleased with the process, and has ZEC done due diligence in terms of the voter experience for people who are casting their votes today?
I think for some it's quite frustrating, because I saw there's a lady that I just I saw interacting with the polling officer just some 5 minutes ago. She was trying to check her name on the voters roll, and so she kept saying, "No, I've been voting all these years, but my name is not appearing on the voters roll. And if I check my name on the online platform, it's there, but I can't find it here." So I think they're going back and forth with the polling officer, as the polling officer was trying to explain to her why her name might be missing from the voters roll. So she was quite frustrated, and I don't know what they ended up doing, but I think she was then directed to the presiding officer, maybe to try and solve a case. So those are some of the things that we are witnessing here at these polling stations. And yeah, people some are finding their names, some are not finding their names on the voters roll. Interestingly, even though when they check them on the online platform, they are there.
So thanks so much, Mr. Editor, for that. So now raising a very important issue now, that someone can check their name on star 265 and find their names there and their polling station. But however, when they go on the ground, on the physical voters roll, they find their name not there. But now let's look at the state of preparedness from ZEC. Now you said the pens are not writing.
You have to shake them.
Like really, this is an independent commission. This is a Chapter 12 institution. I've got to shake the pen for it to write. Like, do you think ZEC was ready for this by-election?
I think these are some of the smaller maybe details that they could have maybe overlooked. You know, sometimes things like pens might overlook. They may be focusing mostly on the bigger things. But I think, like I said earlier in the morning, that these by-elections should serve as a test. To the electoral management body, as well as the political parties and us as citizens, in terms of looking at the upcoming 2023 elections, because obviously those ones will be far much bigger than these by-elections. So I think these are smaller things that we should be able to address now, and then so that at least they don't occur again in the bigger election next year.
All right, thank you so much, Leslie, there for the update. Leslie is the site editor, and he has been on the ground since 7 a.m. and he's just giving us a highlight into what's happening on the ground in terms of elections in Bulawayo. But remember, we are taking comments from everywhere. We had someone from Harare advising ladies to remove artificial nails before getting to the voting areas. They'll be required to remove these before voting and being marked with the indemnable ink. And I have seen, of course, some people on Twitter posting themselves with their nails, posting. Others had to remove the nail. So I think it's different rules for different polling stations. So just be ready for that, ladies, as you head out. We do have a number of people requesting the mic, so please do feel free if you'd like to come through and share your contribution. If you have gone out to vote, what was the experience like for you? If you're on your way to vote, what are you looking forward to as you go about your business? I know the weather has cleared essentially here in Bulawayo. It's no longer raining as much as it was earlier in the morning. So I feel like this is a key time for people to go out and cast their vote.
So I'm still looking forward to hear from Senzeni. Senzeni earlier on, as our journalist from site, said that she went to find out, to vote actually in Kulmane, and her name was not there on the voters roll. But however, when you check on star 265, it was the issue of network now. So I'm waiting for her to hear from here. Did she cast the vote wherever she went to now, wherever she was referred to? So yeah, guys, if you are just joining us, this is the Asake Twitter space. We're talking about by-elections update from all over Zimbabwe. Just heard from Kwekwe, Gwanda, Bulawayo, Nkulmane, Phumula. We have Marare. People are saying different things about the state of ZEC preparedness on this by-election. Indeed.
And of course, if you are heading out to vote, please make sure you use this tool from ZEC. This is the BVR inspection link that you can use. It's bvrinspection.zec.org.zw. This will ensure that you don't waste your time going to a polling station that doesn't have your name or you can dial star 265 hash on your phone to verify your exact polling station in case you were transferred without your knowledge. As you know that there are a number of cases coming up of people being transferred to polling stations without their knowledge as well. As you know, yesterday people had trouble taking out their names on the voters roll. They were saying that it was too dark, there was no electricity. And same thing with this morning, people have been having a hard time looking at their names on the voters roll, essentially at the different polling stations. So just to avoid that situation, just dial star 265 hash on your phone to verify your exact polling station in case you were transferred without your knowledge.
So now, Fungai, what intrigues me is the issue that you can check your name on star 265 and you find it there. But however, when you go to the ground on the polling station where you are supposed to cast your vote, you find your name not there. But however, online is there. So now, I don't know, Zach, what's happening with Zach, but this is the issue that Zanzibar raised earlier on, that Pajit has been doing this thing that your name is there, but however, does not appear on the voters roll. I don't know now the state of preparedness from Zach.
You know what? It is an absolutely worrying trend, especially for individuals who are taking their time to dial star 265 and being secure in the fact that their name is there. Imagine arriving at a voting station and you find out that your name is not even there. Like I highlighted, a lady was voting this morning in Mganine. She was turned away and told to go to Lupane, which is kilometers away from the capital, to go and check if her name is there. We do have another speaker coming through. Lisa, please make sure you unmute your mic and you share your contribution this morning. Good morning, and how are you, Lisa? Lisa, please go ahead and unmute your mic and share your contribution.
Good morning, everyone. Good luck with the voting. I've just noted, I don't know whether, I've just heard you asking about people that have been checking for their names online, and then when they actually go on the ground, they're not allowed to vote. There's an app that Freeman is been talking about. If some people, I don't know if they're able, I don't know if they'll be using data to actually access it. It actually shows where you are actually supposed to go and vote. So I think it's worth checking for people just in case, so that people don't queue for long hours and then only to be told you can't vote in this ward area.
Okay, Lisa, thank you so much for that contribution. And how do you feel about today's by-elections? Do you feel that ZEC was ready in terms of preparing for these elections? And what do you think some lessons so far that we've learned? I know it's only been 2 hours in, but what do you think some of the lessons that should be learned by whether the political parties as well as ZEC in terms of the by-election so far?
Well, it was expected anyway, because we now know they're working, together with ZANU-PF. All these anomalies have just been. I'm sorry, I'm not in Zimbabwe, guys, but I'm just been following the whole proceedings online, and people are complaining about some polling stations without they are using mighty markers for marking people that have voted. Some people are being turned away and slow. And then in case of I'm from Bulawayo, and I've firstly in the morning I heard people complaining that the tents were very dark and people couldn't see properly. So you guys, we can see how it is. It's a big tester for 2023. I hope these things will improve, and we need to keep in that pressure on ZEC to do right, but to right according to our constitution, so people can vote freely and fairly, guys. Thanks. I don't have much to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for coming through. And I think it's very encouraging as well for us who are in Zimbabwe to see that we also have friends from abroad who are actually monitoring these elections and coming through with their contributions. As you know, the elections essentially impact everyone, whether you reside in Zimbabwe or you're outside of the country. So thank you so much for your contribution, Lisa. You are listening to by-elections. We need a camera now. I think we should upgrade to a camera.
Don't worry, guys. 2023, I'm coming to vote. I'll be on the ground. I'm coming to actually vote.
That's
and
great.
be on the ground and help. Thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Lisa. Like she said, 2023, she will be here live to vote and casting her vote. You are listening to the by-elections updates right here on ASAK. If you're just joining us, we are having different contributions from our journalists who are scattered around the city of Bulawayo around the country and just giving us updates. We were earlier on talking to Tongai, who is in Kwekwe, and saying that there has been a service delivery issue in Kwekwe and that there has been no water for 1 week in Kwekwe, but women were there. They turned out in their large numbers to go and cast their votes. And I feel that is really highly encouraging in terms of the numbers of women going to cast their votes. But I'm actually worried about the number of women who are actively participating in politics, essentially.
Yeah, when I was checking the number of candidates which were put by the different parties, but however, some parties did not deploy or just maybe send or one woman. Some were 0, some were 2, some were 5. So I think the issue now of women participation in politics now is very important in Zimbabwe. But now, Fungai, someone saying to me, we should talk about this now.
Mhm.
I've seen people sharing the ballot paper with their ex. That's wrong. To post your ballot paper with your ex on social media platforms, I think that's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially it is, but it also goes back to voter education. Like I was saying, that a lot of people don't know what they should do or what they should not do in light of the elections. Like someone was highlighting, Leslie highlighted it, essentially that someone turned up with their vet card. Someone came up with a driver's license, a photocopy of their ID and the likes. So I feel like political parties need to take it upon themselves to educate their voters on what they should do in terms of voting. And also ZEC has a very crucial and very important role to play. I know that yesterday they were talking about how all systems go, they are ready, they're at 100%, they're ready to go, but today we're seeing so many mistakes on their part, and we don't know if they're mistakes or deliberate on their part, but we're seeing so many mistakes, which are essentially worrying at the end of the day, particularly for voters as they go out to cast their vote in today's by-elections.
So some of the mistakes that we've noted from people that just joined us and they were reporters on the ground, the issue of electricity.
Mhm.
At some point, there was no electricity, so they were using candles and lights, so people couldn't see the ballot paper or couldn't see what was happening inside the polling because it was dark inside classrooms. So the issue of electricity was one of the key points. Number 2 was the issue of the ZEC tents, which were in open air. It was raining in Bulawayo. In some parts of Gwanda, it was raining. So now the tents were leaking. Imagine voting in a tent, it's leaking. So I think another state of preparedness from ZEC. Were they prepared enough to do this by-election now? What were the conditions measures that were put in place by ZEC in case it rains, in case electricity goes? Did they have generators? Did they have solar panels? Did they have anything? So the issue of tents now, again, sanitizers. Someone said that I went to some polling stations, then ZEC officials said there were no sanitizers.
It is essentially very worrying, but I feel like these are key lessons that they can take into consideration, particularly as we head towards the 2023 elections. I feel like this is a litmus test, essentially, and this is actually an educating ground for all the political parties involved in the by-elections. As you know, today, out of the 28 parliamentary seats up for grabs, 20 were won by MDCA back then in 2018, and 18 fell vacant by recalls, while 2 were caused by deaths. And of the 7 won by ZANU-PF back in 2018, 5 were left vacant by deaths and 1 recall and 1 resignation, while the NPF had 1 seat left vacant by deaths. So these are some of the things that people are going to vote out for. And then, of course, in Bulawayo, the elections will be held in Ward 7, 9, 18, 12, 20, 21, as well as 26. So please do make sure that you go out, you exercise your right to vote, and remember that a driver's license does not count as identification when you're going to vote, which is something I personally didn't know. I actually assumed that a driver's license was valid, but according to ZEC, no, it is not. So you must head out with your ID as well as a valid passport. Yes, indeed.
So now, Fungai, I'm seeing my timeline blazing with paper fingers all over. And what's interesting now is 16 female candidates out of 118. Only 16 are female candidates out of 118. So now you see this of gender equality. We see these politicians go to these rallies, they go to this prestigious international conference and speak about gender equality. But however, look at this now. Only 16 female candidates are participating in the by-election out of 118. It's a call for concern now in terms of women participation in politics.
It really is, considering how women outnumber men in the country that is our Zimbabwe currently. But I also feel as though, sometimes it's really not about gender, but can the person actually take up the role and deliver to the citizens what is due to them at the end of the day. So I feel maybe that's where I am on the fence in terms of whether there's a female participation. Some would argue as well that, some parties were formed a few months ago, therefore didn't have enough time to field particular candidates for particular positions and the likes. But for me, I feel it's very important that as we head out as voters to vote for someone who is capable, who is able to deliver on some of the issues that we had. Like in Quaker, they're highlighting the issue of service delivery. They haven't had water in exactly 1 week.
Yeah.
So, yay, imagine.
I think Funke are going to get fired because we're not selling ads. We need to get paid. So let's sell our ads in the meantime.
All right. So as you sell our ads, remember that you can be you can subscribe today and become a member of our site team and get the following benefits. You can get access to our site library. You can get access to borrow library books. That is 2 books per month. You can receive site peripheral. Oh my gosh,
English.
Yes, that is the word I was looking for, as well as access to the workspace and borrow 4 books a month. So this is according to our silver, gold, and platinum editions. And remember that all you have to do is visit our website, which is info@site.org.zw. You can follow us as well on all our social media sites, where it's SiteZW on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, as well as on TikTok. But feel free as well to contact us on 0787 139 460, or you can visit us at our beautiful offices at number 45 Moffat Avenue, right here in Hillside.
And indeed, we have beautiful offices inside. So now I'm seeing an update from someone from our side Twitter page. Someone says, I'm sitting at the school polling station. One of the polling officers was complaining of how he is handling people's IDs, yet there are no sanitizers at the station. The presiding officer, name, said they were still waiting for sanitizers from ZEC officers. So now, issue of adhering to COVID-19 regulations, there are no sanitizers, there are no those machines to take temperatures. Again, COVID-19, having an election in the era of COVID-19 is difficult, right?
Yeah, it is absolutely difficult, and especially considering the figures that we gave today in terms of COVID-19. I know that 2 deaths were reported yesterday, so we cannot be taking the issue of COVID-19 lightly here in Zimbabwe. And of course, there has been an increased uptake in terms of the COVID-19 vaccine, but then it is worrying that a whole institution could fail to come up with sanitizer at the different polling stations.
But they said they are ready for the election. So okay, now I'm seeing someone saying a different polling station, the election agent, the polling agent, I think, was not allowed to get in because they had no vaccination card.
Ooh.
So now the issue of vaccination cards now, you cannot go in there without a vaccination card. So I want to hear from our listeners, wherever you are, which polling station you are at, what issue of COVID-19, how was it? Did they ask you a vaccination card? Did they ask you to sanitize? Did they ask you to check your temperatures? How was it? People are taking social media, COVID-19 regulations. And also, please do follow us on Twitter, SiteZW, and also get updates. Our reporters are posting on our timeline. Yeah? Do you have speakers?
We currently don't have any speakers, but that's still fair and fine. But remember, if you'd like to come through and share your contribution, please do request a mic. And remember as well, if you are a voter and you are headed out and you'd like to check to ensure your name rather is on the voters roll, please, all you have to do is dial *265#. That's to avoid going to a polling station that does not have your name.
Right. So as you're trying to get Senzeni back online, Senzeni is one of our reporters. She came earlier on around 8 and spoke about she went to Nkulumani and trying to cast her vote, but however, her name was not there on the voters roll. She was referred to another place where she can go and cast her vote. So please, let's try to get hold of our reporter Senzeni to give us an update on how far now in terms of has she voted yet, and to give us an update on the polling station, what happened there. Do you have another speaker there? Someone is connecting there. Let's try to wait for them to connect. I see you have many speakers there trying to connect. I think each of network now is affecting them. CC Vungu, please go ahead with the contribution.
Thank you so much, host. Good morning. Yeah, it's Triple C Vungu. Am I audible?
Yes, you are clear. So go ahead with the contribution.
Okay,
What's happening wherever you are?
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Mine is just an advice to say perhaps you can, in your Twitter handle, pin the issue of the ladies with their hands to be done, so that at least when they go to the polling station, they are not surprised. Because I think we need to see it and retweet it, so that that can also go viral, so that at least when people go to the polling stations, it becomes a bit clear.
Okay, thanks so much to Ceci Vungu there. I hope my co-host Lou is there. Please do pin that tweet and some of the tweets that we've been making on SiteZW. Please do pin those tweets on this space. I see we have another hand there. Thanks so much, Ceci Vungu, for that contribution.
Thank you so much, Sama. Thank you so much, sir. That I just want to encourage Mvelo again to say, don't be discouraged, my brother. You see, people like this gentleman who calls himself honorable. They always accuse people of They always accuse people of spreading falsehoods, but when they abduct and torture people, they always say it's falsehoods. Anyway, it's okay. It's a story of another day. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. We'd like to open the floor to the LA. I can't really see your hand up there, but please feel free to unmute your mic and to share your contribution this morning.
Good morning, host. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, mine is just a question. I mean, there's a disturbing pattern of tweets that are basically highlighting voters being turned away. I don't know. Can you please educate me or enlighten me on the process? How does it work? Because I'm assuming that a person who goes to register at the ZEC offices, they think they're given a poll center at which they are going to do their voting. I don't know. Can you explain how the process works? Because I'm beginning to feel that this is a deliberate attempt by ZEC to, to manipulate the vote or to show their incompetence.
I'm not sure the question. What is the question exactly? So please, can you maybe repeat the question?
No, the question is, there seems to be a high number of tweets or a pattern of tweets that are highlighting the same old issue of voters being turned away at polling stations.
So yeah, the number of people have been turned away from polling stations. People who did not have maybe valid documents. Some went their driver's license. Some went with their vet cards. Some went with their photocopy of IDs. Those are not a valid document that you can take to voting polling station. Again, some went with their nails. Ladies went with their nails, big nails. So they are not allowed to cast vote in terms of even their big nails. Again, some why were they turned away? Some their names do not appear on the voters roll, but appeared when you check online *265. Their names appeared, but however, on the voters roll they did not appear. So these are the names people who had been turned away because of those various issues. I hope I've tried to answer you, sir.
Yeah, but I think maybe as the day goes by, as you know, we will be giving you live updates up to 10 a.m. and then Senzo will come through from 12 until 2 o'clock, and then we'll be back again at around 4 until 7. So hopefully we can have someone from ZEC to come through and explain these discrepancies essentially, and just to highlight what was happening on the ground. And, some people have also been complaining, because I know that there's a blind voter in Kumula who has appealed for Braille ballot papers, highlighting that he also wants to vote in secret. And it's not only him, it's also the elderly as well. There's a 90-year-old gentleman as well who had to be accompanied by a ZEC official as well as a policeman to cast his vote. So that really takes away the essence of privacy when it comes to your vote, that no one should know who you're voting for. That is essentially your vote is your voice at the end of the day. So I'd like to invite Leeman as well to unmute your mic and share your contribution this morning. I see that we do have a number of people who want to come through and share their contribution. So Leeman, please just unmute your mic and share your contribution.
Leeman, are you there? Please unmute your mic and go ahead to your contribution, sir. We seem not to be getting Leeman there. So, Fungai, I think our time is up. 3 minutes before the hour of 10. We've been here since 7 a.m. when the polling stations opened. Our reporters are on the ground giving us updates on what's happening in the various corners of Bulawayo and other parts of Harare.
Yeah, it is very interesting to see how it has been on the ground for a number of people, including first-time voters, as well as the women vote. I know that in Kwekwe, our reporter highlighted that there was a good number of women coming through to cast their votes, despite the service delivery issues that they're experiencing. And I feel like for a number of people, to be interesting to see who people are going to vote for in regards to the number of rallies that we've had, the huge rallies, as well as the door-to-door campaigns by different people, as people cast their votes in the by-elections today. So please do remember to continue to follow us on our social media sites, where I'd say Site ZW on Instagram, Facebook, as well as Twitter and TikTok. We will be giving you live updates as the day goes by. Just seeing that post on Twitter as well at Mapisa Primary in Ward 21 Sizinda. 26 people, including one assisted voter, had cast their vote at 9 a.m. and 2 people were redirected. So we are seeing a lot of redirection in terms of people going to cast their votes. I know last night a lot of people highlighted that they could not see their names on the voters' roll because it was too dark and there was no electricity. So a lot of people had to wake up today in the morning of which it was raining, it was cloudy, and there's still no electricity, and therefore people could not really see their names, and they're being redirected to different centers as well to go and cast their votes. So these are some of the issues that people have been highlighting in terms of ZEC and ZEC's preparedness towards the by-elections, which ZEC said they were at 100% as of yesterday. So it will be very interesting to see what is on the ground. And just a reminder to you all that out of the 28 parliamentary seats up for grabs today, 20 were won by MDCA in 2018. However, 18 fell vacant by recalls as well as by 2 deaths, while the 7 won by ZANU-PF, 5 were left vacant by deaths and 1 recall and 1 resignation, while the MPF had 1 seat, and that was left vacant by 1 death. And then, of course, out of the 210 constituencies in 2018, ZANU-PF won 145, while MDCA won 63 and MPF won 1, as well as Themba Mliso had 1 seat. So it will be interesting just to see the voter turnout, to see what people are going to do in terms of their votes and exercising rather their right to vote this morning. We are going to be joined once again by Senzeni, who is a journalist at SITE, just to highlight what her experience has been on the ground. She was with us at around 7 a.m., just highlighting the voter experience. Senzeni, good morning once again. How is it going? Are people turning out in their numbers? Are people happy with the process of voting for their particular candidates this morning?
Good morning once again, Fungai. I'm now in Ward 21, where we have visited 2 polling stations. I'm with Mandla. So Mandla is going to give us the overview of the environment. Then I'm going to give you the stats. So far, we have visited Mapisa Primary, where there were 26 people. We have voted 19 males and 7 females, while there were 2 turned away and 1 assisted voter. It's Mahlabe Zulu Primary School. Is at 9 a.m. There were 18 voters, 9 male and 9 females. There is only 1 person who was redirected, and they also indicated that the presiding officers, they indicated that the rains could have affected the process. So now I'm going to hand over Mandla. Mandla, over to you.
Thank you so much, Senzeni, and thank you to our listeners. I'm just going to give you an overview of the environment. Just as Senzeni has already highlighted, we've visited 2 polling stations so far here in Ward 21, and Ward 21 covers the Sizinda and the Chabalala. So our first port of call was the Mapisa Primary School, which is in Sizinda. There were just few people voting, and the polling officers indicated that in the morning when it was raining, there were just very, very few people, and numbers started going up when the rains had stopped. And then here in Mahlabe Zulu Primary School, there is no sign that we even went inside the polling station. We just found the ZEC officials and the polling agents seated, no one really coming in to vote until we left. So really there is no sign that there is a by-election here. I don't know what is happening really. I think that's what I can say so far in as far as the environment is concerned. Thank you so much. Back to you there.
Thank you so much, Mandla and Senzeni. I want to come back to you now. Earlier on, we went to your polling station, wanted to cast your vote. However, you couldn't find your name on the ballot, on the voters' roll. Have you voted now? Did you find your name on the voters' roll now, where the place where they referred you to?
Okay, I will go back and look for my name, Brighton. As I indicated that we are now in Ward 21. We are just up and down, following up on what is happening on different polling stations. So maybe in the afternoon when I go back in Ward 20, I'll be able to identify my name. But also what I've noticed, or what this other presiding officer said in one of the polling stations, she indicated that 1 voter was turned away because he or she registered after the cutoff date, which was around September last year. So I'm really assuming that maybe that could also affect me, because I also registered this year apparently. So I think I might not be able to identify my name because of that.
Thank you so much for that update, Senzeni. And once again, Brighton, like I said, it also points out to voter education and, just knowing what you should go about. Like someone has highlighting that some people have been turning up with their WarVet cards, some people photocopied identifications, some people have been coming up with their, driver's license to go in for. So thank you so much, Senzeni, for highlighting that there was indeed a cutoff date in terms of who can vote in these by-elections. But I feel not enough was done in terms of voter education. So some people will end up, looking for their names all day and there's essentially nothing. But there was a woman this morning at Msiteli School Polling Station, Mapopama, who was told her name was not on the voters roll, but she was insisting she had registered and her name was appearing online. Like I highlighted that people can dial *265# to check if their names are on the voters roll, and the election officer had to thoroughly search for it and eventually found it. So these are some issues that are really coming to the fore in terms of e-voter awareness, voter registration, and voter participation, essentially. So perhaps these are lessons not only for ZEC, but for political parties as well, in terms of encouraging their electorate to come through and vote and to know their rights and to know what to do in terms of coming through to vote.
Also, from guy to add on that, the NGOs have been educating people about maybe about education, but they're not clear. It was not clear in terms of what you bring. I think maybe they assume people know what you bring, your ID or your valid passport, but I know people are bringing their driver's license. Again, there's a perception in Zimbabwe now or everywhere now, but the people are assuming that this is the entire election across the country. But however, these elections are by-elections which are based on which are MPs or councillors which have been recalled from parliament or by death or by resignation. People are not aware of that. I think there was misinformation or lack of information from our side, from the media, or from the side of the NGOs, or from the side of ZEC.
Yeah, and I thank you so much for tapping into the media side of things. I feel like a lot of people are blaming ZEC, but ZEC has tried their level best. I like to think that they've tried their level
But they
best.
say they have resources, but they can't even provide electricity. These polling stations.
Well, that's unfortunate due to the power situation that we have in the country. It's not a secret that there have been power outages throughout the country. So leaking tents, yes, maybe we can look at it and say, ZEC, yes, what are you doing in terms of that? And like someone highlighted that, this could actually affect the votes, essentially. What if it's leaking on a side where the votes are being cast and it spoils the ballot
Remember,
papers?
someone said the area where they were, there was no ink to write on.
You had to shake the pen.
Yes, they had to shake the pens to put the X's, shake the pens. Number one, the ink for the fingers, there was no ink. The indelible ink was not there. So I think sometimes the issue of ZEC, is ZEC ready to deliver a free, fair, and credible elections going forward 2023 elections?
I guess we will know based on today's numbers. And I feel like today really is a test to see, Kuti, where the people's interests are, whether they're in opposition or in the ruling party currently and the likes. And it's nice to see as well the diaspora participation in these elections. I know someone was reporting on what was happening in Berengwa, and they're not even based in Zimbabwe currently. So kudos to everyone who's participating and wanting to see what happens with these elections. So just as we close off, as you know, Zenzile will be joining you at 12 o'clock until 2 o'clock in highlighting the by-elections updates. And we'll be back again at around 4 o'clock until 7 o'clock when the polling stations close. So if you'd like to work with us as ASAKE, please remember that we do offer so many services such as live streaming, program sponsorship, documentaries, corporate events, filming, as well as PR services. All you have to do is contact us on 0787 139 460 or visit our offices at number 45 Moffat Avenue, that is in Hillside. And not only for that, but if you are in the diaspora and you'd like to be in touch with us, this includes receiving news stories, breaking news stories, as well as our monthly newsletter. All you have to do is visit our website, info@site.org.zw. And of course, even if you are locally based, remember that we have the gold, silver, and platinum edition, where you get to receive the newsletters, to be part of the team, to access our facilities as well. So please do make sure you come through. But I see that we have another speaker coming through. That is
Let's take Zenzile now. I want to hear from him what's coming up from 12 to 2 p.m. What's going to be touching on issue of maybe giving us election updates. What's going to be touching on from 12 to 2 p.m. Zenzile, please do request. Please do take our request. And I want to hear from you what are going to be unpacking for us on this space between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. So now, Fungai, I think we have to go, but the space is interesting now.
It's been very interesting, very fun, and very educational. And I hope that ZEC, including all the other political parties, take into cognizance some of the issues that have been highlighted by the general public in terms of their participation in the elections as we head, of course, towards the 2023 elections. But for myself, Fungai, as well as
Brighton Ncube, but we're still waiting for Mr. Zenzile to join us to unpack what is going to be saying or speaking about on touching about maybe from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Please say do take our request and want to hear from you what we're going to be talking about from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. But it's been an interesting space since this morning. The issue of IDs, the issue of people going with driver's license, people going with Wolvet cards to cast their votes. Guys, you can't go with the Wolvet card. You can't go with the driver's license to cast your vote. You can't go with a photocopy of an ID, but you've got to go with the original copy of ID and a valid passport. A valid means a passport which is functioning, which is working. So it's a valid passport and ID to cast your vote. So those issues, ladies, then the issue of nails.
Yes, the issue of nails. Apparently, they have been giving issue rather to women who have been turning up with their acrylic or their nail gels and the like. So likely you will be taken back to the back of the queue. So shout out to Aesthetic Shona for coming through then highlighting that issue that ladies beware if you do have nails. I feel like I saw a lot of ladies with their nails being marked as voters and the like. Some had to remove them. So I guess it depends on the ward you are and the like. So I guess different rules for different people, essentially. But nonetheless, please do make sure you continue to follow us on all social media sites. We're at SiteZW on Instagram, Facebook, as well as on Twitter and TikTok. We are giving you live updates until the polling stations close at exactly 7 p.m. From myself, Fungai.
And Brighton Nube, we are back again from 4 p.m. up to 7 p.m. So then it's going to take off from 12 p.m. up to 2 p.m. Guys, go and exercise your right. Go and vote. Your vote, your voice. Please do follow SiteZW on our timeline on Twitter to follow more updates from our reporters on the ground. So till 12 p.m.
Adios.
Bye.